go ahead and put it on.
All right.
All right. We are back with the NieR, so go for it, DaleDukk.
What is poppin', gamers? I am DaleDukk, playing NieR, not NieR Automata. We're playing NieR. That's an important distinction because this is the better of the two games. I have Mash with me here, who agrees with me that this game is better than NieR Automata. I believe he also may or may not be making a donation, so I'm trying to stall for as long as possible so that he might snipe or not snipe a certain bid war.
Yo.
I don't have anything else to say. Mash, give us your money faster, please.
I'm doing what I can, okay? Listen, I had a long day.
You know what, that's fair. I think we all had a long day. I'm about to have a long night. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep and a lot of caffeine.
Sounds like a normal DaleDukk thing.
That's a very normal DaleDukk thing, but you know what? What's up, GB Chan? Thank you for the raid. Sponsored by Drakengard.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
But soon. In like 4 hours.
I'm gonna have to leave halfway through this run and go to the fucking store on the corner and get a Red Bull, aren't I?
Oh no.
It's DGen hours. Let's go.
Real DGen hours.
It's comfy.
What's up, Kaine, Ame, Sugoi, GB, everyone coming in. Party of 7. We're vibing. Do we have the donation yet, Mash? Should I read the donations?
We do. Go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to read Mash's donation, you can.
All right.
The file name is Bill Cadabra, but he decided what your outfit was.
Alright, so we have a $20 donation from Mash that just says sniped.
Nice. You dumbass!
Thank you, Mash. Alright,
you were
big
using the
words.
samurai outfit.
I'm using the samurai outfit. Sick. Alright, let's get that changed. Hell yeah, thank you, Mash.
Damn right.
I like how I let him do that. Alright, samurai.
There's not a cat girl outfit, but, whatever.
I've never seen any of these outfits. I looked at Kabuki earlier and it looked pretty nice, but I've never seen samurai.
Oh, it's silly.
Oh boy.
Let's go, let's get it. I do know what it does to projectiles, I'm aware of that.
You gotta be a thick boy with armor plates, man.
Oh boy, I'm ready. We're not naming it 1, we're naming it Cadabra. I have to remember how to use this keyboard. K-A-D-A.
Oh, this'll be fun for the end.
Cadabra. Yeah, we have to type this in again later as part of the run. Did I spell that right? Am I small-brained? I don't know Pokemon.
Let me check. Yeah, Kadabra.
Sick. We're ready to go.
Cadabra.
Make sure you remember that spelling, because it's gonna be important. 4 hours from now.
Yeah, no, 4 hours from now I'm gonna have to remember I did that. I'm sure I'll type in 1 with muscle memory, but whatever.
Oh.
Alright, let's get it, gamers. We're gonna be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. We're playing some NieR. This might be the first time I've ever done serious commentary for this video game. I usually have my friend Jabro in the call with me, talking over me, and talking about things that have nothing to do with NieR, so this is gonna be a bit refreshing for long-time DaleDukk Marathon Run fans, as well as newcomers. So we start out in this prologue, where we're playing as NieR, or I guess Cadabra, and the only thing we know right now is that there's these yellow DNA lads, and we have to whack the yellow DNA lads, so we're gonna do that. We have another group of yellow DNA lads that we have to kill. They don't have a name yet, so I'm just gonna keep calling them that. It's very long and wordy, and it makes me sound smart.
Yeah, we'll talk about those guys much later.
They're very important. So there's another group here, and if we get hit by them, we have to restart the run. Oh god, whatever will I do? You have to get hit by them to progress the game. That's the joke. And now we have magic, which comprises the core of the game's entire combat.
And the only spell we care about is this one.
Yep, this is Dark Hand, the most powerful spell in the game by far. Now, people who know me and know why I like NieR know that I'm a big lore guy. One of the points of contention for this game originally is that it's very stiff, and the magic is just way more overpowered than the mediocre hand-to-hand combat with the weapons. But I have this theory, and we'll get into it later when we start talking about characters and stuff, when we start meeting certain characters that might be like books, maybe. But who knows. I think the entire point of making the magic overpowered is because NieR really isn't an overpowered character. He's just like a dad looking out for his daughter. Like, he's kind of strong, he's buff, of course, but he's not like any kind of overpowered god or anything like a lot of traditional JRPG main characters, which I really appreciate. It keeps things really fresh. But there's a lot in general to talk about in lore, and that's one of the things I'd like to talk about because I never get a chance to. Yeah, go ahead, Mash. Sorry.
So while we're playing Papa, aka Thick Boy, right now, there is an alternate version of this game called Replicant. I don't know if Dale was going to touch base on that at any point, but generally you'd be playing as a younger, much more fragile and short boy. In the prologue and throughout the game. But there's some differences between the two, but they're pretty much the same game.
Yeah, there are two different versions in Japan. The way it works is if you buy it on 360 in Japan, you get Gestalt, which is the version that both consoles got in the West, and if you play it on PS3, you have Replicant. I do actually own a copy of that video game, not that I'm able to read it, I just kind of got it to have it. Yeah. I did do a speedrun of it at NASA 2019, though, so go check that out if you like really bad commentary. It was very late night. It was this type of environment, too. But, what was I saying? Yeah, no, in Replicant you actually play as the, I guess kind of the main characters. I don't really know if she could be considered the main character or not. It sort of depends. I just did a thing that I'll talk about. I'll just interrupt myself. I just did what we call Prologue Skip. There's a boss at the end of all that you're supposed to take down, and it takes an extra minute, but if you just go to the cutscene trigger early and kill the last enemy, it skips that. I don't know if Mash has ever seen that or not. Oh my god, this outfit is sick.
Assuming I don't watch the speedruns that are submitted.
Oh yeah, you do verify the runs now, don't you? Because you're the only person who's around to do that. But anyway, like I was talking about, in Replicant you play as Yona's brother, and in Gestalt you play as Yona's dad. There's another important change, though, that we kind of skipped over, but it was there. There's one version of the game, the Japanese Replicant version, also the only Replicant version because it's only available in Japan, imagine that, has Tokyo Tower in the background as you like pan over the city.
Yeah, we would have seen it in the cutscene that we ended up skipping.
But in Gestalt, it's just like a random building. But the thing about the Tokyo Tower is it is lore important, because as a lot of people know, because I make it a point to bring it up every time that I play this game, this is part of the greater Drakengard series. And the whole thing is that a dragon got impaled on Tokyo Tower and caused everything that happens in this game to happen, and it's a whole thing that I could get into, but all it would do is confuse everyone. The only thing you need to know is that Tokyo Tower is really important, and I'm very pissed that they took it out in American versions of the game. But, yeah.
Hey, it got us NieR, it got us Automata, it got us all the other Drakengards.
That it did. It's still a very good video game. So you'll notice I'm rolling around a lot now to move. That's because rolling around is fast. You also might notice that I was rolling faster there after I jumped off the cliff. That is because I put myself into a state called side rolling. There are 3 different types of rolling in this video game. There's forward rolling, backwards rolling, and of course, side rolling. Side rolling is the fastest because the turnover rate on the animation is a lot faster than the other 2. Backwards rolling gets you more distance, so it's the second fastest, and then you have forward rolling, which is just bad, and you don't want to do it. Ever.
Yeah, he wants to be on like a sort of, I guess, 40... No, it would be 45 degrees, it'd be the other way around. What would that angle be?
You want to be rolling at a 90-degree angle to relative to the direction your character model is facing. So the way I usually do it, something like that. So I don't know circles. I haven't taken a math class in 3 years.
But yeah, he wants to be rolling on the left-hand side as much as possible.
So what I'll usually do is, like when I'm sitting still like that, I'll quickly pivot to the left and then press forward from neutral and roll. It's a lot of really fast inputs all at once, but you kind of get muscle memory for it after a while. But people who first learn the game lose like half an hour, believe it or not, to that, because most of the game is comprised of doing that rolling technique. And it's just that much faster.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
It definitely adds up, especially when we add the other movement tech we'll get later.
Yeah, there's another piece of movement tech that's also kind of interesting to learn, but also a lot easier. We just also don't unlock that for a while.
Yeah, that does mean that rolling at that point isn't super crazy if you don't get the fast rolls.
It just turns out that the beginning of the game is really long, and if you're not rolling quickly, you lose a lot of time, like a deceptive amount of time. Combat's also important though. There's a lot of minor combat optimizations, as well as luck, because I do a different money route than everyone else, but it is what it is. I take a very risky approach to the money route in this game. Other people don't like to do that.
I've done some pretty risky money routes and they never panned out.
I don't know if I want to go the risky route or just go for the money quest though. I haven't decided. I have not made that call.
You could just be like me and bank off the drops.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. I'd like to go to bed at some point, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, he's gonna want the money for later because it's gonna speed up the last section of the game by a good portion.
Yeah, you can either get you can get the best weapon in the game really quickly, or you can get the best weapon of the game really late, depending on your money route. Mostly depending on drops, but you can do a quest to guarantee you get it at the expense of about 5 minutes.
Yeah, so Dale's gonna go check up on Yona, our lovely daughter. My lovely daughter. Stay the hell away from her.
Yeah, in terms of like doing things and the structure of the game, the way it usually works is go home, go see Popola, get a quest, do the quest, go back to Popola, go home. At least for the first bit of the game. There is a certain point about halfway through where you switch into a bit more freedom of choice territory, except not really. Basically, the game after every objective will pop up with like, go see Popola, or go check your mail, or something along those lines. And the order in which you choose those actually dictates what order you do the objectives in, but you will eventually hit every single area and every single quest. So it's a very linear progression.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, too, the reason it does that is in case the player forgets, like, what they should be doing to progress the story.
I think that's everything we need to cover gameplay-wise until we hit Lost Shrine. But we are about to get a bit of our first real combat, because obviously the prologue was very streamlined. We have about half an hour to 45 minutes of hand-to-hand combat before magic really becomes like the meta. And the way we handle that is interesting, to say the least. We definitely don't do things the way the game wants us to. We kind of just abuse game mechanics that aren't... They never really tell you about a lot of the stuff we do in this game. It's kind of interesting in that way. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to knock the characters down and then perform a finisher, and then that's just going to, like, murder them. The game never tells you that you can knock enemies down. I'm not going to do this on this guy, though, because he didn't spawn where I wanted him to. Ooh, gold drop. That's actually good. And I messed that one up, so not very good bridge, but that's fine. There we go. I guess it'd be like that. You'll also notice us leveling up. Don't worry about that. We get levels when we're supposed to get levels. They don't really mean anything because we play on easy. a lot of the time you won't even see it, because if you level up during a boss, it never notifies you.
Since you mentioned easy, the reason why speedruns are generally done on easy is because you have double mana regen, which is super important for combat sections, because that just speeds up a lot of the fights.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on the harder difficulties just increases the amount of health that the enemies would have, but also reduces your mana regen.
Yeah, so it doesn't really change like the enemy layouts or their movesets or anything. I think it might make them a little bit more aggressive, but at the end of the day, the only real difference is how much of a health bar you have to take down and how quickly you can do it, so we might as well play in the easiest setting. At least in my opinion.
Now, Dale has done a full playthrough of this game that includes doing all endings, and then somehow routing in the fact that he wants to play on a harder difficulty because he thinks it's better.
Yeah, no, it is. I confirmed it at one point, but I also lost the spreadsheet that I took data down in.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm the only person in the world right now who's done a full sitting playthrough of NieR, and also, if someone else has done it, I'm for sure the fastest at, I think, 6 hours and 50 minutes. So the way the full game works, you might have noticed that this is ending A. I don't know if I actually put that in the category or not. Yona's gone, by the way. Don't worry about it. But yeah.
Go find her.
The way, yeah, so you'll notice it says any percent A. The way the endings work in the game, it's not like traditional RPGs where you have to fulfill certain requirements in order to get different endings, and then at a certain point you get locked in. You go from ending A to ending B, and then you get your choice of ending C and D after you finish the game. So when you transition past the 5-year time skip, haha, Fire Emblem Three Houses joke, you go into the real, I guess, portion of the game where you have all your combat capabilities unlocked, and the plot is at, like, spoiler alert, the important part of the plot. All of this is just prologue. And then when you beat the game, you go back to the beginning, and a few things are changed every time. So in ending B, you can actually hear what the enemies are saying instead of just hearing them, like, make noises. And then in ending C and D, you have to get all the weapons in the game. So the run entails getting all the weapons across 3 playthroughs. And as Mash was saying about playing on hard, just an interesting tidbit of this game in case you see this and decide to play it. If you play the game on hard or switch the difficulty to hard, because that's something you can do, you're more likely to get gold drops, which are rarer, and 1, can sell for more, and 2, are required to craft some of the weapons in the game. So I do switch to hard in the middle of the run if my grinding doesn't go well enough, just so I can make sure that I get all the items I need in a reasonable amount of time. And it still ends up being faster, I think.
You definitely don't want to start a run in hard.
God, no.
Because you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah,
Unless you want to, like, get to certain boss fights. Dark Colossus, for example. That's not the actual name of the boss, by the way. That's just the name of the soundtrack that's playing at the time. But if you go to that boss could take an eternity, it feels, on hard mode. So
yeah, on hard, enemies have, I think it's 4 times the amount of health. You also do half the damage you do, and your MP bar regenerates. Like, it takes a full minute once you get a certain amount to fill back up to full. So it's like
enemies also deal a lot more damage to you. They basically double their damage output, which means you're at risk from dying from a lot of bosses.
So you only want to be playing on hard for, like, certain enemies. You want to be smart about it. Yo, thank you for the raid, by the way. That just happened. That it wasn't something I missed. I thought it was something I missed. We're coming up on one of the only skips, like, proper sequence breaks in the game. This one was also recently discovered. There's this thing we call staircase skip, and what it does is it skips a staircase, as you would expect. You can actually skip 2 later on, but we don't have all the weapons to do a certain exploit. But basically you abuse your moveset to get a bit more distance than you're intended to be able to, and you just, like, skip combat rooms and puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, you spent a good chunk of time in the Lost Shrine with the amount of times you have to come back and visit it in a single playthrough.
It turns out...
Skipping these block puzzles that we're going to be seeing shortly is a big time save, because they do take a lot bit of time to figure out and do for your first time.
It turns out this is a really important part of the game. I think this is the only area in the game that you actually... No, that's wrong. Also, the Abandoned Factory. But, this is one of the only 2 areas in the entire game where you revisit it more than twice. So we're going to be seeing a lot of this area, except ideally we won't be seeing very much of the area because I'll just be able to get this. So... Hell yeah, first try. So you're not supposed to be able to jump across that gap, but you can if you use your light attack to keep yourself in midair. Because for some reason when you do light attacks in midair, you just stop falling for a bit. I think it has something to do with like hit stun or something. Is weird, but we can abuse the hell out of it to do stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some kind of like lift that you get out of certain attacks when you're performing them in air, but generally attacking in air is slower, so we just don't do that as often as possible.
It's never good in combat, but it's great for movement.
Yeah, so we'll be coming up on a room that we call the lag room, and you'll see why in just a bit.
Yeah, it's not quite the lag room yet. It's not that horrible now. It gets really bad in some of the revisits, though. But I wouldn't call this good. It turns out these enemies are comprised of mostly particle effects, which is really cool, but it doesn't work very well for the hardware that it runs on. And currently there's no proper PC version of the game, so the Xbox 360 version that I'm playing is actually the fastest legal version for the speedrun. I guess I should also touch on that, actually. I don't know if you knew this, Mash, but the costume incentive, we're playing on Samurai. If you use the non-standard costumes, you actually lose about 5 minutes in the run because the loading screens have unique animations. So they do take longer.
I do know that, but I mean, that's not really that worth mentioning, right? Like most people aren't going to do the costume run.
It's not something that people would know, but it is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the costume, depending on which one you have, it changes the little animation next to the loading screen that you would see right now. It's like doing like a little samurai dash. With the other one, I'm not familiar with the other one off the top of my head, but it just changes that unique animation, because if you leave it on standard, it's actually just Yona walking. And then she like waves every so often, which is pretty cool. I like that one the best though. Well, we're going fast, so we gotta go samurai, right?
Fucking hell. I got this a whole bunch of times in practice. There we go. So you can do the same thing we were talking about earlier, where the hit like preserves your momentum to run into a bit of a round hitbox there and just slide on up to the top. I wasn't doing it properly because I'm small-brained, but yeah, that's the thing you can do. Believe it or not, that was still faster than the intended route, though. There's this thing where you're supposed to go like all the way around and push this box and then climb some ladders. We just don't have to do that.
Well, before we used to only push the box a certain distance until we hit a trigger, and then we would use that to shortcut jump up there. Save a couple seconds, but it's a little faster to go the way you did, even if you don't have the box to jump onto right now.
Because there's no tutorial, there's no ladders, it's just you do the thing and you get up. So it's really nice that that exists.
So we just saw Dale pick up a book. That is Grimoire Weiss, which is Liam O'Brien, god tier voice actor in pretty much every good video game that I've ever listened to.
He does a god tier job of voicing Weiss. He's perfect for the character.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Liam O'Brien is like amazing. He did an excellent job with Grimoire Weiss in this game, and does a lot of really good voices for other games with similar like sassy and like question like oriented characters. But yeah, Grimoire Weiss basically is, he's been sealed away here. He holds lots of knowledge from the old world, and we pick him up not knowing exactly what's going on, but we're promised that he'll help us save our daughter.
So anyway, like I was talking about earlier with the whole magic thing though, this is the first of the party members you get in the game. You get a book, you get a blind kid, and you get a half-shade, half-human hybrid. Also Mash's waifu. This is the book, and the book allows you to use magic by channeling it through the book, or more specifically, the book, lore-wise, is acting on its own, but you control it, because that makes the gameplay more bearable. But anyway, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where the hand-to-hand combat is bad, and I think intentionally. It's because the whole thing is, you find this all-powerful book with this magic, and suddenly you're able to do a whole bunch of stuff because the book can just carry you through the entire thing. I think that's the entire point. So yeah, the hand-to-hand combat isn't very good, and it's because NieR isn't very good at hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, it turns out killing all sorts of wild animals bring back the food to the village and stuff. Well, it does make you look buff and makes you feel like you're a strong man. You're weak as shit.
Oh yeah, no, you do not do a lot of damage as a human being.
So anyways, he's got two abilities now from picking up Grimoire Weiss. He's got Dark Blast, which he repeatedly spams, and that's because the initial hit out of Dark Blast does a lot more damage than holding it down. So that's a good way to use your mana if you're really low on it. The other thing you can do if he charges up is the Dark Lance, which you'll see in a short little animation here.
Real quick, just so they know, you cannot change the outfits mid-game, so the bid war does not stay open, unfortunately. But I will say you need to donate right now to save the animals. So everyone donate to save the animals, or I will hate you, and I will go out of my way to make fun of you.
But you killed the sheep at the start of the game.
Shh, they don't need to know about that. They were fake sheep. They were robots. They're not real. It's fine, Mash.
I'm not sure about that.
Save the animals. Do it. Mash, are you a save or kill the animals guy? I gotta ask.
Oh, I'm definitely kill the animals.
God damn it. Save the animals. DaleDukk says save the animals.
Kill the digital animals, save the real animals. That's my logic.
If save the animals is winning when he wakes up, the marathon is cancelled. Oh no.
I'll tell you one thing that ain't getting saved in Dod 3. Humanity.
We don't kill any animals in Dod 3. I hate to break it to you.
I think the humans count as animals, don't they?
I do have something I'm gonna do during Drakengard 3 though that's gonna be very entertaining, I feel like. And it's gonna please the hell out of both Mash and Rod and anyone else involved. But I'm not gonna spoil it yet. You won't find out until after the run's over.
I'm scared already.
Oh, you shouldn't be scared for yourself, you should be scared for my wallet unless you want to join me.
Depends.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a bonus at the end of the run that I might do.
Alright, well, I guess we'll see that later then.
Something wrong. Just think.
OMG. Okay, I'm gonna use that now. Thank you, Erica.
When the great black book.
So basically, we just found out that what we found was Grimoire Weiss, or in German, the White Book, has a counterpart, the Black Book. So Grimoire Noir, and it turns out when the two unite, it saves the world from this disease that's happening. It's called the Black Scroll. We haven't really mentioned it, but that's what we're trying to save Yona from. It's kind of important for lore reasons.
Well, yeah, Black Scroll is a thing, but there's definitely a greater disease that's already taken its
Oh, very much so, but they don't know that yet, and so neither do we.
True.
I forgot I have to go grab quests. I'm glad I remembered that, because this is incredibly important. Yeah, I don't think I've run this game actually since NASA 2019.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while for you, and much longer time for myself.
It's been a couple years at least for you.
If couple is like 3 or 4, then sure.
Do you often get asked to handle such inane shopping trips?
Alright, so we're gonna go buy and equip a weapon.
A father and a... Hello?
And now we can kind of talk about weapons because they exist and they're kind of important.
Has a tougher hour.
So, weapons have 2 different attributes they give you. They have raw attack damage and they have magic bonus. It is usually in a percentage, it increments in tens. The weapon we bought gives us a 20% magic bonus, which means we're dealing 20% more damage for every Dark Blast and Dark Lance, and later, Dark Hand that we send out.
I just calling it Fist.
It is a giant fist, so I suppose it is the Dark Fist. Yeah, this game is about the coronavirus, actually. CC Neverender, big brained the plot. Did NieR Doobie is predict Black Scrawl?
Yeah, Yokotaro predicted the whole shebang before it even
May be
happened.
able to save the whole damn...
But yeah, spoiler alert, this game is about a disease, but you don't really know that until the very end. You kind of do, but you really don't. But anyway, we're saving the world from the Black Scrawl, and when the 2 books unite, after we collect all the 8 sealed verses, which coincidentally are given to us every time we defeat a big shade. Once we do that and they combine, they save the world. And to their credit, even though the prophecy is a big ol' lie, spoiler alert again, they are correct. The 2 books combining would save the world. But we can talk about that a lot later. That has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
Yeah, so the yellow things Dale mentioned earlier are actually, now we know them as shades. That's what everybody around here in the game calls them. We'll learn a bit more about them a little bit later, and you're in for a surprise when you find out actually what they are.
Oh yeah, no, this game's lore is actually insane. The big reveal blew my mind the first time I encountered it, although technically the first time I encountered it was in NieR Automata.
Dude, this game makes me cry like every time I play it. The feels are real.
Insane.
The feels are real with this game.
To give you a bit of a hint, it's obviously not going to help you like actually figure out what's going on, but an interesting note from the developer, not the developer, but the director, Yoko Taro, I suppose to some degree he is the developer, but whatever, semantics, had an interesting thing. One of the minor details in this game is that NieR's birthday is September 11th, which, as you probably know, is a very important... Hold on, I have to do a thing.
Shoutouts to them Yellheads.
There we go. So that's a skip. We don't have to walk all the way back around. Anyway, as you know, September 11th is a very important date in American history because it was a big tragedy. I don't really need to go into too much detail because y'all know what 9/11 is. And that is very much intentional because the entire theme of NieR is that everyone is doing what they think is right from their perspective. The people who carried out the 9/11 attacks thought that that was the right thing to do, much the same as a lot of the both good and bad characters in this game think that what they're doing is the right thing, even though 9 times out of 10 it's not actually what they should be doing.
It's just a clear misunderstanding from
Very much so. So just an interesting tidbit there.
And
in case you're into like deep stuff.
The entirety of Drakengard.
Oh, very much so. It's a big theme the entire way through. Is like, are you really doing what's good? Are you not doing what's good? All of the characters in all of the games, antagonist or protagonist, are very gray area, and I think that's one of the things I love so much about it.
Yeah, so we're slashing away. We're hacking our waifu up there. She's in a very sexy outfit, I might add. So you're welcome for that as well.
Thank you, Mash. I gotta say, the Kabuki one is still my favorite Kaine outfit as of today, but this one is not bad.
That's great, but this one also has Emil heads for when the shades shoot you, so that's great too.
They both have Emil heads.
They do?
They do.
Damn, well I never played either.
Yeah, I've never played with the outfits before, this is the first for me. But I do know they both have Emil heads, because that was a thing that was listed on the page.
This big lizardy boy here is Captain Hook. We just call him Hook. There's a story behind him, but yeah, he's referenced to the story of Peter Pan.
Yep.
And a lot of characters in this game are actually referencing to other fairy tales and stories.
Yep, that's another very interesting tidbit about this game, actually. The original concept for NieR was that it was going to be you were going to enter fairy tale books and kill, like, evil people that were taking over the fairy tales. That was the original concept for the game. Somewhere along the line it got turned into this, and I'm very glad it did, mind you. But that's an interesting concept, and I actually would love to see Yoko Taro return to that at some point in time. Although I think he might have with See No Alice, actually, the mobile game. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, and that's getting a global release.
I don't want to talk about the mobile game. There's a lot there. That's a whole rabbit hole. Where'd my phone go?
Point taken.
If that part goes, cut her down like all.
But anyways, we're just waiting for her to do some dialogue here so we can
I've
continue
lost
on.
my cell phone. I'll find it later.
Just throw everything everywhere.
Yeah, no, that probably made a lot of noise because my chair is loud. We just
our
unlocked our
controller's
cam, by
louder.
the way. This is true, my controller is very loud.
It's all that freaking side rolling. Alright, so he went into the menu there and he swapped over his abilities, so now he has Dark Hand on his rotation. So basically, we pretty much get rid of block pretty much entirely in this run, because why would we ever do a block? Because it's so slow.
So we're about to kill a boar. That's important.
Yeah, and having this new ability, the Dark Hand, also known as the Fist, is just really, really good with the strength drop that you just made.
Yup, so you use the strength drop. My body is murdering me right now for the food I ate 5 hours ago. So the strength drop gives you double damage on your sword attacks, and the Dark Hand is used to keep the boar stunned, because the boar can one-hit you at this point in time, even on easy. Just know that. But,
Yeah. But now we have boar drifting later.
Yes, we do. That was one of the quests I picked up. You kill the boar, you get a bit of gold, and more importantly, you get the ability to mount a boar, which is the fastest form of movement in the game that you can use in these sort of hub overworlds. You have the northern plains, we're going to be seeing the southern plains soon, and you have the eastern mountains, which also lead into the desert.
The southern plains don't actually have a boar, though, sadly.
No, the southern do, it's the eastern that don't, because it's just like a bridge between Lost Shrine
the map always
and
confuses
the desert.
me with the layout.
Yeah, it's a weirdly complex map for how linear the game is. It's very, like, open to be explored, and there's very little to actually find. It's one of my very few faults with the way the game is structured. But to some degree, it also, I think, makes sense for what the game is about. It's like, you really don't care about distractions. You're just here to support your daughter and save the world at some point or another, except that you never actually care about saving the world, as it turns out.
You just care about Yona, and that's
very
the best
much
thing
so.
about this.
And that's what I'm talking about. You think that you're doing the right thing by saving Yona. Hint, hint.
You better save Yona. I'm just saying, you better. It's a good thing there is, never mind, I'm not gonna talk about that. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, so Yona's really sick right now, so we're doing everything we can to figure out more about these sealed verses that we got told that could possibly cure the Black Scroll. So we're gonna go back and talk to Popola.
So, one other thing to note that I kind of just glossed over as we were talking about other things, but it was very important that I went back to talk to Yona first instead of Popola. This is the first time in the game where you have diverging timelines, although it's not really that deep. You can either talk to Popola and get the mission to go upgrade your sword at the abandoned factory, or you can go to Yona, find out that she's in a lot of pain, and get sent to go get a fish, which will act as a painkiller. We want to do that because that lets us go to a merchant town called Seafront, where we can buy more magic and strength drops, which we used earlier to double our damage on the sword, if you'll recall.
Yeah, that's basically our earliest point to like stock up and get some stuff that's a little tedious out of the way as soon as possible. Also, we'll be coming up on some fishing RNG. If you're really good and you have like really good positioning, you won't have an issue with this, but apparently it's the toughest thing in this game for some people.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and you'll see why when I do it, but this was a playthrough stopper for a lot of people when they first played this game. As ridiculous as that sounds, because the fishing is relatively easy in this video game, it's actually kind of deceptive. The game handles it poorly in the localization. And as I said, we'll touch on that. You might be wondering why I'm saving this guy. It's because, where's the thing? Okay. You might be wondering why I saved that guy. It's because the game will not allow you to progress if you don't, but it does give you a weapon that we will not be using. So, God bless.
Yeah, so yeah, we're just on our way. That guy's getting attacked, so obviously we have to be a good Samaritan and save him, or else, you know, we feel bad about it for some reason. Anyway,
also board drifting. I'm choosing not to say anything more on that topic.
Yeah, board drifting, we need more of it in our life. Shoutouts to NieR Automata not having board drifting. Like, what the hell?
It does have board hopping, though.
Yeah, but it's not as good as drifting. Let's face it.
You're not
Let's face
wrong.
the facts. Missed opportunity with that. Should have been like a board racing minigame at some point or another. Just think Mario Kart, but instead of carts, you have boars.
So anyway, as I said, this is a run stopper. You might notice something about the mini-map in the bottom right, and is that it doesn't do a very good job of telling you where things are. So you see that red X, and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to fish at this water where I got the fishing rod to get this fish. But that's not true. Because you don't have the ability to purchase the map yet and have things show up on the mini-map, it's very hard to tell that you're supposed to go all the way over here, because this is the only place in the entire game that you can get a shaman fish. And that's the fish that you need. So, a lot of people quit here.
Yeah, and you have to be in the exact right spot.
Yes.
Or else you'll catch a boot.
Yes,
but,
that's also
But there
true.
is a fail-safe. If you're in the right spot, or the right area, and you fail 3 times, the game will just give it to you. Eventually.
That is true as well. But we got a first try because I'm a god gamer. And now we're gonna go talk to this old lady. Another thing though is that the game itself tells you how to fish, but it doesn't tell you the right thing. It tells you when a fish bites your line, press A. That's correct. And then it tells you you need to move the stick in the direction of the fish. This is not true. You have to move the stick backwards and also in the direction of the fish. That's not clear, and it led to a lot of frustration for a lot of people. But since it does have that failsafe, it's not as important. But another interesting thing to note about that is that there must have been 2 different localization teams that worked on the tutorials in-game versus the instruction booklet that comes with the game. I happen to have a copy with the instruction booklet still, which is very fortunate because I actually love the aesthetic of the instruction book. But incidentally, it tells you how to fish correctly. The only place in the localization that tells you how to fish.
So if you don't have that instruction booklet, we're sorry, but
yeah, you just don't.
That's just the breaks.
You just never learn how to play the video game. It's kind of insane.
So this old lady yappers at us, tells us that we're good for nothing, so we have to go get her mail and deliver it all the way. I don't know how she got there so fast, but we have to go all the way up there to hand deliver it. So it's it's just a little silly. But anyways, this is like our first taste of a bit more of the side-scroller sections that you'll see in the game. But we just go up and around the White House.
Yeah, one of the cool things this game does to add gravity to the... Oh shit. Thank you, Xbox controller. I need to buy a new one. The battery pack fell out. That usually happens once per run.
See, this is why wired controllers are so much better.
You can't buy wired controllers anymore. They're all like broken. It sucks.
Are you kidding me? I buy them brand new all the time. I've got like 3 of them.
Ship me one, brother.
I'll find you one. I'll ship it to you.
That was my phone. It's in my chair. That answered that question. I'm currently gaming from a recliner. The ultimate way to game.
I have a $400 gaming chair.
Oh no. I've been upstaged.
I also have a gaming chair that was given to me by my beautiful BF.
Imagine having a gaming chair in 2020.
To be frank, though, they aren't as comfy as a recliner. Just saying. But they definitely do their job.
Yeah, I did that right. So we got really lucky on money, but we also have the potential to get really unlucky later and make that a bad move. But that's fine. We're not gonna worry about it. I feel like I was saying something. Yeah, one of the cool things this game does to add gravity to story moments is that whenever there's like a lore important or like a really like something the game wants you to pay attention to, it will shift your perspective in the area where the conversation takes place to be in 2D. And what's cool about that is it actually like changes your mindset. You start to associate 2D sections in the game with really important things. So like there was that one outside of the Lost Shrine. There's always an important piece of dialogue that goes on as you're walking up that. Whenever you're in Popola's office in the library, you're in 2D, and in the lighthouse, you're in 2D. There's some others. There's one we're going to be coming up on later, the tavern, where a really important piece of lore is dropped, and it's just kind of dropped nonchalantly as well, but I'm definitely going to talk about it.
It's very important, too. It's gravely overlooked by most people as well.
Yeah, because you don't even think about it. She just says it, and you're like, oh, that's neat. And then you go back and play the game again, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's a big shocker, definitely, if you do manage to play the first portion of the game, then go back and continue on. It starts like revealing a lot, and then you feel like a big jerk by the end of it all.
Oh yeah. And also, obviously, in the house, you're in 2D, arguably the most important area in the game. Next to the library, I would say. The library is for sure the most important in the game. Arguably, anyway.
I saw that. You almost tried to talk to her again.
Yeah, when you do that, you get locked into a quest, and then you have weird dialogue. And it can be funny dialogue, but it also wastes a lot of time. But anyway, we're gonna go talk to Popola now, and we're gonna go to the abandoned factory, where we're gonna kill some robots. That might sound familiar if you're familiar with the sequel to this game.
Yeah, it should be very familiar, actually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, technically, if you play Final Fantasy XIV, you are also familiar with that factory.
Yep.
This is true. It's interesting that they made that inclusion in that raid, actually. I really love that raid. I don't play the game.
I'm a little sad that I haven't gotten to the point where I can do it yet, but eventually.
Oh, bruh, it's so good.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I've heard good things about it, but I'm still scrubbed.
That's fine. I've been playing the game for over a year now. My roommate's got 419 days of actual playtime clock.
Holy crap.
So don't worry about it. You're fine.
I only played for like a couple months and got like into Heaven's Word, and it's just like, ugh, I just want to get to the good stuff.
Heaven's Word is the good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not too far into it though, so unfortunately, I'll get back to it at some point. But
so when I started playing Shadowbringers wasn't out, and I prefer Heaven's Ward as a story to Stormblood. It was just better. But Shadowbringers knocks it out of the park, so if you can get through all of that and get to the Shadowbringers story, like... Oh,
but those MSQs,
It gets it gets way better once you get a little bit into Heaven's Word. It's just the beginning of Heaven's Word drags.
Yeah. But yeah, so we just went to the tavern and got some huge lore drop.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to talk about is you could have blinked and missed it. We were in and out of the tavern in like less than 5 seconds, but arguably one of the most important things the game tells you, they tell you in that short piece of dialogue. Devila drops the line about buying her a drink, to which NieR responds this early, and then Devila says, it's never too early in a town where the sun never sets. She means that literally. The sun never goes down. So you know at that point, and hold on to that for when we drop the massive lore bomb way later on, assuming you're still awake by that point. Whatever messed with the Earth to cause this apocalypse that we're in, because we are 3,000 years into the future, it messed up the world so bad that it actually got shifted off its axis, and now there's parts of the world, like, where people inhabit, that the sun actually just never goes down. There's a lot that contributes to that. Oh god, things are happening in chat. But yeah, this is the abandoned factory. A lot happens here. There have been arguments to say that this is the other side of the factory from NieR Automata. I don't know if I believe that or not, but it is a factory, and it does have machines in it, and that will be lore important to Automata. So we'll be talking about that after a certain boss later on. This is the only area in the game where you kill the robots, and every robot is going to have a material drop. You'll notice that I will go out of my way to pick up these material drops, even if it's slower to do so. Because at the end of the day, the money you get from them is so significant to the relatively tight money route that you really don't want to be missing enemy drops at any point, ever. Especially not from these ones, because these parts are really expensive when you sell them. You can also use them to upgrade weapons once you unlock that feature, but we don't have a need to do that in the run, because the weapon we get later on is so overpowered that we just don't need weapons.
Yeah, it turns out the best weapon in the game is not acquired at the very end of the game. It's actually acquired like significantly before it.
Oh,
so.
No, whoever designed the weapon balancing for the second half of the game, whatever intern they put on that needed to be fired immediately, because they kind of just broke the entire game's combat system.
All they had to do was swap two certain weapons with each other.
My theory,
with the same family name, and they would have been fine.
No, my theory is still that they just swapped the numbers around when they were putting them in.
Yeah. I mean, that's first time.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah. I don't know of any other way to explain how that happened, but yeah. I mean, granted, it does require a fair bit amount of money to get it, but still.
Sure do like to complain.
Yeah, I mean, they made it expensive enough to balance for it, except not really. They're not expecting you to sell the upgrade materials, I think, is the problem. So we do kind of cause the problem, but also they shouldn't have made that particular weapon that strong.
Well, I mean, if they were gonna do it, they just need to swap it with the other one that you get at the very end of the game. So while he wraps up doing the factory, so one thing to note, like, when you're collecting weapons in this game, some are like, most of them will be bought from shops, other ones can be given to you from quest rewards, and there is a few that are like, that you can only get on at a certain point, after which you'll be locked out, and that's why subsequent playthroughs do help you get those later. But like I said, the weapons that we're going for, they're always available because they're just bought and right from shops.
So for the very attentive listener, you might have just heard me swear under my breath. There's a thing that happens in that room where if you kill both robots at the exact same time, one of the vital items you need, the key items to progress, will not spawn. Which is a weird phenomenon. Luckily, we killed one of them like 1 frame before the other, so they both did spawn, and the run is saved. All we would have to do is exit and re-enter, but that's another like 5 minutes, so we really did not want that to happen. And luckily for us, it did not happen.
I've also had a weird thing happen in that room where I've killed the enemies, but the item was in the air, and I couldn't get to it.
Yeah, it's the camera angle in those rooms is really weird. You have no sense of the elevation, so things just spawn above you, and you'd be none the wiser.
Yeah, you go from like top down to like over the shoulder to like side scroller a lot in this game.
So now we're gonna go back into the factory because we need to go back into the factory. They tell us, hey, our mother's been gone for a while, so it might take a bit longer for us to upgrade your weapons. So we're like, oh, we'll go find her, because NieR understands what it's like to lose a family member. He actually lost his wife to, I think, the Black Scroll is what it is. I kind of forget. I don't know if it's ever properly explained.
Currently in the story, it's implicated that it was the same disease, but he didn't know it at the time. But it's definitely not the case later when we find out more.
Yeah, I don't think we find out through regular story means. I think you have to, like, do some of the side quests to get that information.
Yeah, you have to do, like, this whole series, Drakengard and NieR being all entangled with each other, like, a lot of the stuff isn't just in the games. A lot of the lore is also in novellas, playwrights, and a lot of other material as well.
Yeah, I like to say that 90% of NieR takes place outside of NieR, because that's pretty true.
Yeah, it actually is true.
There's even like stage plays that you have to watch to get some context for NieR Automata. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I talk to somebody on a regular basis that's usually involved with a lot of that stuff. She actually runs a website called NieR2.com, and her name is Alex Recca, and she has done a large majority of the work out there, basically deciphering and piecing together all of the information from every source material out there related to this game. So very much should go check that stuff out. And if you ever do get the chance to talk to her, she's very active on Twitter. She's super friendly and will love to chat hours about this game.
By the way, donate to save the animals. Just a reminder. No, gosh bless Rekka Alexiel. If you feel like you don't have the time to invest in like reading the supplementary material for these games, but you really want to, go to Fire Sanctuary, which is what Mash was just talking about. Pretty much everything is right there. It's very consolidated. It's kind of like a novel. You can just kind of page through it as things become relevant. She has like a whole timeline, actually a set of multiple timelines that help explain when things are happening. It's a great resource for the lore in this game. If you do have the time to devote to reading the supplementary material though, please do, because it's really well written, and it's a really good read. I've actually shown it to people who know nothing about the games, and they've said like that was a really good read afterwards.
She's done a phenomenal amount of work with the fan base and just putting together all those resources, making it accessible to people, translating all of this stuff. It's huge. And without that, I don't think a lot of us would even understand remotely what's going on.
Yeah, it's very important too. She's very like close friends with Yoko Taro, the director. So like the things she's writing aren't coming from a place of like it's her theory. The things she writes are properly, like, canon. She's advised by the man who wrote the script for these games.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very good resource.
Yeah, I talk with her on a regular basis and the general NieR and Drakengard community, which originally we founded the speedrunning community out of there way back. And those guys were like super awesome to hang out with and get things started with. So, shout outs to them and thank you very much for making this game even more enjoyable as the years go on.
Oh yeah, very much so.
It's malfunctioning.
I already screwed up the quick kill. Nice.
This thing's crazy.
Yeah, so, this boss has multiple phases, and generally you want to get through each phase relatively quickly, because there's different cycles.
Yeah, these lasers can just juggle you, and that's kind of a problem. So we can usually kill them before the lasers even show up, but as I said, I don't think I've done a proper, big brain run of this game since NASA. So I'm kind of just forgetting how to do some of the stuff. But that's fine, we're not losing that much time. That wasn't that horrible afterwards.
Yeah, so he's gonna hope that he can get a one cycle on the following phase after he kills these robots. Because if he doesn't, it's just a huge time loss otherwise, because you have to wait for all these animations to play before you can actually deal damage again to the boss.
Yeah,
So.
the third phase, the par is 2 cycle, but there's a very, very rare 1 cycle. It's only ever been seen once where a bomb exploded twice and dealt enough damage that the rest of the phase just took out the health bar. It was very interesting. We've never seen it again. I don't know how it happened. I don't think we're ever going to figure it out.
But yeah, so generally you're going to go for the 2 cycle, and the only way you end up getting that 2 cycle is by using those drops that he picked up earlier. So he buys the max amount of drops because we're going to use them all by the time this run's done. And hopefully maybe a few more, but you'll have to get lucky with some drops later.
So anyway, here's the phase we were talking about. The way it works is you get this missile phase, and then you have these bombs that spawn from the turrets. You throw one into the robot's mouth. What we're about to do now is a bit of a programming exploit or a hitbox oversight or something. You're not supposed to be able to hit the boss like that, but we can. Because of the way Dark Fist has a very interesting property where it actually goes through walls. It's the only magic in the game that does that. The way they protected the hitbox so you could only use the bomb is they put it inside of an invisible wall. But whoops, that wall doesn't actually exist if you use Dark Fist. So instead of doing that in 5 cycles, we're able to do it in 1.5. And that was a boss.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that the wall doesn't exist. It's just Dark Hand actually extends past the barrier, so it has a really large hitbox, which makes it super strong because of the damage it deals and the fact that it hit more than one enemy at a pretty ridiculous range.
Yeah, that's very, That's a very much like a more technical way to put it. I just like making fun of the way things work in video games.
Yeah, I think the only other spell that we have access to at all in this game that has the same that has insane range is Dark Lance, but it fizzles on walls and collides on objects, so it's not that useful at long range.
For this game, that's interesting. I'm on and off about something. How can we shill this game? There is DLC I can do afterwards if you want to donate towards that. Alternatively, we can have a,
Oh boy.
Here we go. Here's what we can do. We can have an opinion piece. So, back in the day, Games Done Quick used to do this thing, favorite Final Fantasy, and it would be a bid war that doesn't actually mean anything. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So there's 4 characters in this game. There's NieR, there's Kaine, which is the lady in underwear from earlier, there's fan favorite Emil, and then there's Grimoire Weiss. We're gonna have a bid war for favorite OG NieR character. Let's make it happen, Qua.
You all better be donating for my waifu, just saying. Or I'll find you.
I go the right way? I did go the right way. I looked away for a second and lost my place.
Yeah, the map's a little hard to follow because, again, the map doesn't rotate with you like most games. So you can get lost because you're just following a red X and you just don't know exactly where that is leading you.
Why are the bullets Emil's head? That is one of the things that comes with using one of the DLC costumes, which is what the bid war was. We're currently using the samurai costume, which also makes all of the bullets in the game Emil's head instead of the normal red glowy things that they usually are.
Yeah.
So that's why that's happening.
If you played Automata and you see the projectile attacks from any enemy, they're going to be the same particle effect that you would see normally.
Re-say the options real quick. This is important because I want people to start voting towards this. We have NieR, the main character of the game, and we have Kaine, Kaine, I think is how you spell her name.
Apostrophe E.
Yeah, the E has like a French accent on it.
But I say it like Kanye West, so that's
Mash does say it like Kanye West, that's true. He actually has an emote for that. Mash, drop that emote, please. We have Emil, and we have Grimoire Weiss. That'll be Weiss, German pronunciation.
I'm gonna share a short little story if Dale will allow me, unless he wants to talk about
Absolutely, go for it.
So that emote actually was made by that community, which I mentioned earlier, with Rekka and everybody in there. And back when I did this run at what was it, NASA 2016?
I think it was 2017. The first one in
2017?
Canada. 2016 was Chicago.
Yeah, 2017. So when I did that run, and everybody watched the run, and the community was like super hyped to see the run and stuff. They were a little annoyed that I still can't pronounce the name 100% accurately. So that's how that emote happened. I forget exactly who made that emote. It might have been Frody. I can't remember exactly the person's name, so I apologize if I've forgotten who made that emote, but thank you for making that emote.
It's such a good emote. God bless.
But yeah, so this is a refight with Captain Hook. This will be the last fight we see with him, but we're in a side-scroller section, and we have to kill all these orb guys to get by. We only have to kill the ones that are marked by the angelic symbols that Dale's working on here, and then I'll progress each into the next phase of the fight section. But do you want to touch base of the importance of this boss at all?
Sure, actually, yeah. So, this is Captain Hook Part 2. There's this story we're not going to get to see happen because it's part of Ending B, and it's also like a long string of text, so even if you do an Ending B run, you don't see it. But Kaine has this really tragic backstory about how people in town made fun of her and like tried to strip her clothes off and stuff, so she's like, yo, I'm gonna leave town, and she ended up living with this lady, what was her name? She has a name. But she came to be known as Grandma to Kaine, a very important person to her, which incidentally is also the name of this very beautiful track that plays during this boss fight. But during the last part of that, you see what happens to Grandma. She, I swear to God, that's gonna bother me. I know her name.
Yeah, it's in the back of my head. I can't recall off the top of my head. It's been so long since I've actually had to mention her name.
But, she gets killed by, you guessed it, Hook. And then rips Kaine's arm off, and as she's bleeding to death, that's when a shade enters her body. And, yeah, so she's half human, half shade, technically dead. Like another character from another video game that we're gonna be playing later, actually. Lore. So
we'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. I have some interesting stuff to point out when I do commentary for that run.
So yeah, no, then in that cutscene there, the Shade Hook actually impersonates her grandmother. And then she says something that Kaine doesn't like. So Kaine goes berserk, and now it's dead and impaled on a spike in the area. And it will stay that way until we destroy the area later on. What's coming after this run again? That'll be a Drakengard 3 3-way any percent race. It's gonna be sick. Absolutely tune in. 3 very good runners. Including myself. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I'm good at Dodd 3.
I would say I wasn't very good up until like a couple days ago.
Oh, donation amount probably isn't updating because you have to approve all the donations individually. By the way, cut in at any time for important donation texts. I'm willing to stop talking at any point.
Yeah, this is a pretty long run. There's plenty of time for that stuff.
Because I'm pretty much...
see them.
Oh, that might be a problem, yeah. Quo, get in here and help us.
But yeah, we're on our way back, I believe, to talk to Popola.
Yeah, we talk to Popola, find out about... Actually, no, we don't talk to Popola. We go directly to Facade.
Oh, yeah. I always, like, that part when learning the game always confused me, because I always kept going back to Popola, even though, like, you get into this routine in this game early on, where it's like, go back to Popola after everything you do story-wise, and then eventually the game goes, no, you don't do it this time.
Yeah, no, it's always, like, surprising. It feels weird when you don't go to Popola first, because you almost always do. Especially when you're playing it casually.
Yeah, I was doing the speedrun and I'd forgotten about that, and I ended up losing like 20 minutes to just that shenanigans, because that happened a lot in the same run. So, yeah. But you get used to it after a while.
Mash is a mod now. Mash, you are our donation leader.
Let's just leave it at that.
You enjoy.
Stranger than a boorish young woman who battles monsters.
Now would be a great time for donations.
Let's go.
I'm gonna pull up the thing now. Jeez, make me do work. What is this?
Yeah, Mash and I can...
But there's something like preventing it from being made.
It's because you don't have two-factor authentication activated is all.
Technically speaking, I don't even need to be mod. Just saying.
It's just so you can read the donations and approve them, since I'm kind of speed gaming. Because me and Mash are both
Is that literally
able to do
why?
it.
I can fix that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, no, all you have to do is add two-factor authentication, and then it'll let him mod you. So if Erica wants to do that as well, we would have a lot of support on this, because I'm speed gaming, and hopefully there's going to be a lot of donations.
I don't even know how to spell this.
Here's another thing I'll say. If we hit $2,000 by the time I'm done playing video games tonight, I will do something absolutely insane. So if y'all want to make that happen, please do.
How do we even clear?
Oh my god, I can't type at this time of night.
Come on, guys. Help me out here.
$2,000, please and thank.
A brilliant book of unspeakable value. Not some dog-eared travel guide.
I was typing it wrong because I'm silly.
So we're about to see a child trip and fall in front of us, and instead of helping her up, we're just gonna pick up all the stuff she dropped. Don't worry about it.
I'll let you guys know if I see any pop in.
Well, there should be a bunch, because people are donating for that bid war.
Yeah, I got one, but there's
You
no
got
comment.
one?
So thank you, Anonymous.
We'll go
for
check
your
the
one.
bid war and see who's winning then. Let's get an update.
$1 to a meal, so thank you, Anonymous.
Yo, gosh bless.
I mean, a meal is a great boy, but, I mean, I feel a little betrayed that people don't like Kanye.
Alright, I fixed it. We should be good now, Poe.
Oh, hell yeah.
They speak.
Yo, is that a cat? Yo, post a cat.
Oh god, not the post-it cats. That's a whole can of worms that I don't want to get into.
That was almost 2 years ago now. Can you believe it?
I cringed every moment.
Yo, post a cat. How fast can you not?
Alright, so we're waiting for Freya here to give us a bit of a tour. But we're just skip like pretty much all of the tour.
Oh yeah, the game kind of just lets you skip it in case you've seen it before. So we're gonna do that.
And this is the city of Facade, a very wonderful, structured city with higher and lower archy levels where everybody lives at the appropriate level for their class.
So Facade is also a civilization based very heavily on rules. They speak a different language from everyone else. It's a very complicated culture. We're about to run into a very funny situation, actually, that's going to advance the plot. So, we find out, after we buy this weapon anyway, that, wrong store. That, Kaine and Fira, this little girl, actually have some history together.
Yeah, so, I don't remember exactly what she did to, was it a pack of wolves or something?
Yeah, so Fira was gonna be demolished by a pack of wolves and then eaten. Because, like, these people are also at war with the wolves. I was able to get Beastbane, by the way, God bless.
Nice.
But Kaine saved Fira from a pack of angry wolves, and Fira feels forever in debt, so does the town. So Kaine is allowed safe passage through the town while nobody else is. And that's what allows us to even do what we're doing right now in the first place, which is asking the King of Facade for advice. However, the King of Facade is dead, and the prince is currently missing. It turns out he's in the Forbidden Temple.
AKA the Temple of Trials.
Yes. The Temple of Zelda. And the problem
you'll
is...
figure out why. Are you gonna let that play, by the way, so they understand that?
Maybe, maybe not. I might. It's not like we have plenty of time to kill.
It's like 1 second.
Yeah. I can't think tonight. But anyway, we just ran into an interesting predicament. So, if the prince goes missing, the people, via rule 20,000 something or other, are required to go and find him. However, they know that he's in the Forbidden Temple somehow. And the whole thing about the Forbidden Temple is that by rule 38,000 something, I think, they are not allowed to enter the temple. So they cannot save the prince, and they cannot enter the temple. What is one to do? So we decide, since we're outsiders and we're not bound by rules, we can go in and save the prince. So that's what we're doing now.
And then the song track that plays in there, God's Unbound by Rules or something like that.
God's Bound by Rules, yeah.
Yeah, that one plays. So another thing to note is that all the music in the game is related to a lot of the events of the game. It's not just random, like they're all named for particular reasons.
The prologue music is Snow and Summer, Abandoned Factory is Wretched Automaton, like Mash said. This is God's Bound by Rules. There is Grandma, like we touched on earlier. There's one very subtle one called Shadow Lord.
Yeah, very subtle.
As well as Shadow Lord's Castle, actually. Again, very subtle.
But yeah, all of those songs actually have their own lore attached to them.
Yep, they correspond to what's happening in the game. It's very interesting to look at the song names.
But Snow and Summer actually is the only song in the game, I believe, that doesn't have a direct tie in this game, except for in the prologue, but it's more related to the actual Drakengard games.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with what happens between Drakengard 1 and the events of NieR. It's not actually snow. The fact that they even call the song Snow and Summer is meant to deceive you all the way up until the very end of the game.
But we'll talk about that when we get...
Yeah, there's a very massive lore bomb we'll have to talk about later.
Yeah, so you're in for some really comfy, great lore.
Yeah, it's story time in like 2 hours.
That's already story time. We're dropping tidbits in there as we go.
Which ending to Drakengard is this canon to? It's kind of canon to two different games in a very bizarre way. It's very loosely canon to the ending of Drakengard 3, ending D of that game, but it's directly tied to ending E of Drakengard 1, which was originally a joke ending. As I said before, the concept of this game was going to be different. It was going to be you go into fairy tales and do things in fairy tales, and that's why all the bosses are named how they are. But they decided to scrap that and continue on the joke ending in Drakengard 1. And what that ending is you have like this big fight at the end of the game. Is the Queen Beast is like an important big boss lady that sings. It's the whole thing. Play Drakengard 1 or don't. I won't fault you for either. But in order to kill the Queen Beast, you have to fight the lion in the lion's den. So you travel into the land of the gods, which is actually just 2003 Tokyo. You fight the Queen Beast there. She dissolves into a salt particle thing, and then a bunch of things happen that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Also, Angelus dies and gets impaled on Tokyo Tower, which, like I said, is why Tokyo Tower and also Tokyo Tower being red are very important for the game's lore, and why I'm very pissed that they removed that from the video game.
So he's actually now in the Temple of Trials, and he's going to complete these trials, kind of. He's gonna do a few the intended way, but there's gonna be a lot that he just doesn't, because we found ways to just ignore some of the rules, or, we follow the rules, but we don't. And hopefully there's a particular room that Dale gets good luck on, and he's, still in practice for, because that room can be a bit of a hassle.
God, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah. But before we got here, we had to travel through a sandstorm, and Freya's the only one that can actually navigate with us. And if we travel too far, we lose Freya, and then we warp back to the start point. So, it's very important that he keeps close to Freya during that section with the holes in the sandstorm, because you can lose a lot of time from pure bad luck if you travel too far.
DaleDukk has gotten his phone back. That's an update. While I was waiting for that dialogue.
And now we meet the prince.
Yep.
And he immediately gets taken away again.
Fuck, I just screwed that one up. But anyway, yeah, each room gives you like this cryptic rule. This one is stationary owl, so you're not allowed to sit still. The one before was, I forget, but the rule is you're not allowed to jump, which is why we had to push those blocks and do things. And the end goal is to kill all the pink cubes in the room. You can kill that with 3 attacks of anything or by stepping on them. Generally, we prefer to step on them where possible because it's faster, but also shooting 3 of the things into them is also valid.
It's funny that you mentioned the stepping on thing, because a lot of people don't know you can do that.
Yeah, it's not clearly... I discovered it completely on accident during a speedrun.
Yeah, there's very few points where you'll want to do that, because, if you do get hit in some of these rooms, you just get reset. But welcome to the room that he could struggle on.
Yeah, and say goodbye to the room that I could struggle on. I'm already through it.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that room is you're not allowed to run or use magic, which is important for 2 reasons. 1, we mentioned the 3 attack things, and 2, running is a thing that you just kind of do without thinking.
Yeah, and when you try to go fast by rolling to supersede that, you could end up getting a run animation at the start, because you have to start a run and then immediately turn it into a roll. And the game will go, hey, you're not supposed to do that, so let's just reset the room.
Yep.
And so the only way to prevent that from happening is by perfectly timing each individual roll after the first one, or else it just resets the room.
Mm-hmm. Alternatively, you can walk really slowly by like kind of pushing the stick, but that's slow and we're speedrunners, so we just go for the really dumb strats instead.
Not to mention that you would have to block to get past a lot of those projectiles, and those push you back, so that could be annoying as well.
I'm not even bothered talking about the rules in these rooms because they don't matter. They're just very quick in and outs. There's another one that I'm kind of afraid of coming up right now.
Oh. Yeah.
This one has a bunch of cubes and you're not allowed to use melee attacks, which is fine. The struggle is that there's a lot of these boxes that shoot the orbs at you, or right now the Emil heads. And if you get hit by even one, the room resets as well, regardless of what the rule is. So we kind of just have to go really slowly and be a scrub, because I don't actually know how to do this room quickly. And they also turn, so you can't just like, oh, it's shooting that way. See, I almost died right there because I wasn't paying attention, actually. They turn, so you also have to be aware of your surroundings while also looking at the cubes and trying not to die. It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
Oh god, just kill the thing, please.
So, you mentioned that you're not supposed to use melee, but if you get the last cube with the melee, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, as long as it gets destroyed before the dissolving animation ends, then you did clear the room, which is nice. But we really have no cause to use melee attacks right now anyway. You'll notice I bought Beastbane and equipped it, which is a melee weapon, but who cares, because the only attribute on the weapons that actually make a difference to the run are the magic boost, which on this one is 40%. That's very significant. We can kill things quickly now. Quo's allowed to go to bed now. Heck yeah. Thank you for the donations, everyone. By the way, MASH, now would be a great time for donations.
Well, we got a wonderful donation from Lake saying, "Go to sleep, Quo."
Thank you. This room is interesting. We're not allowed to evade, which kind of throws out like all of my combat strats, because like I always evade to avoid attacks, and now I just can't do that. It's pretty sick.
Well, we have dark hands, so that's useful.
Yeah, so we just have to like not get hit. It's kind of sick.
Yeah, these guys do quite a bit of damage, especially the last enemy that spawns here. So.
Yeah, one of the things to note, I did say levels aren't important. That's not entirely true. It's ever so slightly facetious, because you can actually die very easily regardless, due to the character being really underleveled. You're meant to finish the game around like level 20, 25. I believe we finished the game around level 17, and that's bad. Because you have a very low defense ratio, you have a very low health. Very similar
situation to your automata when you finish an any
The only real thing you have enough of is your magic meter.
What was it? There was one thing I was going to mention now. Damn it. I forgot it. If I remember, I'll hopefully put it in before we leave this area. It was something important with this area. I forget what it was. To curse me and my terrible brain.
That mewling child's inside. Without any rules to bind us, we are free to unleash the entirety of our powers.
So this is Shariar. The gimmick is you can only hit the pink cubes, and the blue cubes will shoot out indestructible projectiles. We try to quick aim them
too as well on retaliation, which.
Oh, that's because you're hitting the shooter cubes next to them, which also shoot them out. That's why that happens. But yeah, shooting the pink cubes has the same effect, incidentally.
Yeah, there's like no way to do that. Each
stage of this tower has a different gimmick to it, as well as different speeds. You're trying to hit as many as possible with the one projectile. Sometimes that is possible, sometimes that isn't. That's pretty much how this entire fight goes, to a degree.
Yeah. So aiming dark lance like he's doing is not that easy, actually.
Check Discord, because we get like a minute and a half to just sit here.
Yeah. So yeah, firing those dark lances is pretty tricky because your aiming isn't really centered to the reticule. It's actually, because it's over the shoulder, it's kind of to the right. So you kind of have to aim a little bit farther to the right-hand side than you would think in most cases. I'm not sure why it's doing that exactly, but I think it has something to do with Grimar Weiss always appearing on the right-hand side of your character.
Yeah, I almost want to tape something to the TV when I do these runs because the reticule is in the center, but it's ever so slightly skewed by where Grimoire Weiss is, so you sort of have to account for that in when you're shooting off the spears. But yeah, that was a phase. Now we have this, phase 3, which is going to go by very quickly.
It's not like I was searching.
And for once, it's intended to go by very quickly. Basically, he slams the fist down, you jump, and then you hit it, and that's a phase.
The glowing cube takes priority.
Probably the easiest boss in the game in terms of whether you die or not, but probably the hardest in terms of technical execution. If I had to say so myself, anyway. And now phase 4.
You'd be surprised how many times I've actually died on this boss when first playing this game.
I mean, that one
because
was
I
just
didn't
me being
understand
bad.
it.
If you miss vertically, it's just because you're a scrub.
Yeah. So this part is actually a little difficult because they're rotating around the center point, and it fires these lasers. And as the lasers, like the pink spots get closer and closer, the lasers also get more and more aggressive.
Yeah, you very much want to get it before the lasers close in, because if they close in, you're going to what is it? You're gonna get juggled, and that's not a good time.
Yeah.
It won't kill you, mind you. Actually, it might kill me. Oh fuck! I didn't look at my health.
You're low
shit.
life. You've been taking a lot of those retaliation.
I haven't even been paying attention. Oh god.
Good thing you get plenty of herbs.
And then this one's very light. I don't even remember if this one has lasers or not. Evidently it does. There's a thing we can do here. Will he do it? He will not do it. You can hit both of those at the same time if you're lucky.
Yeah, you have to get a pretty accurate shot.
Hope you enjoyed your sleep.
Alright, cool. So he's got one more thing to do with this boss, and then it's done. And evidently, Kanye and the Prince are also back here as well.
Yep.
And we saved them. Oh no, you didn't play the cutscene. Oh,
I forgot.
anyways, at the end of that, the Prince ends up finding the mask that he needed to ascend to be king in a treasure chest, and he pulls it out, and a little homage to the Zelda games. He pulls it out and it placed a little, like a very mono-off jingle, like open the chest and retrieve an item jingle that you get out of those games. So that's pretty cool. So Yoko Taro indeed has played other video games and puts a lot of referencing to movies and games that he's played that he enjoyed.
Just wait for the mansion mash. There's another game that's a very hard reference in a different section of the game.
Yeah. Mansion's so cool though, the first few times you go there.
Oh, I love Mansion. I love every single time you go to the mansion.
But then when you're doing speedruns there,
oh
then
god.
You're like, oh god.
Yeah, no, I actually hate that part of the run, but I love that part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very terrible portion in the speedrun, but there are very different reasons because of the mechanics.
Yeah, this game is a very bad offender of escort missions are bad. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we get good luck and we don't get trolled too much. I guess that's about the only thing I can say.
Ways to view the world as there are people in.
Totally dependent on how much the AI wants to troll us.
Something on this journey after all.
Maybe. What do you think, Kanye?
But yeah, so we're on the way back to the town.
Ooh, we have the hardest boss in the game coming up, actually.
Oh yeah. we do. I mentioned him earlier. Well, I didn't say their name, but I did mention the song. Legit hardest boss, especially on playing on hard mode.
It actually might be for me, because as I've been saying, my wrist is having a bit of discomfort. Oh god. I'm not
this
ready.
game, yeah, I can see it being an issue.
I don't mind, like, repeat presses. It's more when I have to, like, hold down.
Dude, my hand literally kills after doing a run where you're just rolling all the time.
But the way, because I do a lot of rhythm games that use the triggers. Like Project Diva, I do a lot of macroing. So
yeah.
I use that finger a lot for stuff like that. But
Dale trains for this game by playing Project Diva. Just FYI.
But the way I do the spamming during this boss, it is not good.
Okay, but hear me out. I'm finally happy that I'm not the only person that plays that fucking game.
Wait, really? There's another Project Diva player in this call right now.
Hello?
This is absolutely insane.
I play the much better video game, and Dale should know what that one is.
DJ Max is also a very good rhythm game.
Hell yeah. I've been DJ Maxing since PSP era, man. I'm not any good, but it's fun, it's addictive.
I've been DJ Maxing since 2018, I think. NASA 2018, in fact.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there's literally 2 video games on my desk right now, or 3 in total. One's Animal Crossing, one is my copy of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn because I pulled it out to make sure it wasn't scratched, and then Project Diva, and that's it. That's all that's on my desk.
So not Future Tone. This is I don't know how to feel about that. Future Tone is just the best one.
This goes back to the only console I have that works is my Switch, and then my PS4 when it wants to.
Let's be real though. The only thing good that came out of Project Diva is the things that I won't mention that are on the internet. That's all I know. I'm sorry. The only thing that I've ever heard about is
I fucking love you, Mash. Holy shit. God damn.
And somehow it still surprises me, even though I play some pretty interesting games. I'll tell you about those at some point. But,
that he does. This dude plays a game called Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, and it's exactly what you think it is.
and don't forget Oni Shambara.
I actually have that game sitting somewhere, just like chilling. I bought it on a whim and still haven't opened it.
Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter is a solid shooter.
No,
I don't know why. I don't know why the school thought it would be a good idea to issue school grade like machine guns.
School
rifles.
Issued Magnum. That's all I'm gonna say about that video game.
Or shotgun or assault rifle.
School issued assault rifle. Very topical video game. I don't think they realized what was going on in American politics when they wrote that story.
Probably my most favorite mechanic in a video game that makes absolutely no sense, but it just works.
I'm gonna fucking laugh myself into an asthma attack. Holy shit.
So anyway, in case you couldn't tell what the content of this boss is, you should be able to tell by listening to my mic.
Yeah, so this is a story boss. We're learning some very deep lore, and we're talking to the mayor, who's in a very deep trance, and we're trying to get him out because he's trapped.
Here's my personal theory about what happened here, actually. Because what you get is you actually get these, like, things where you're walking through the forest and things happen to you, and they're all, like, very cool things that would look really nice visually. But this is a budget project, so they kind of had to cut corners where they could. I bet they took their concept notes for the Forest of Myth area, just, like, turned them into a story, and then made you, like, do some riddles. Because that's the entire boss. You answer 3 questions, which we know the answers to, and then you get the sealed verse. That's it. You took down the sacred tree or whatever. That's it. That's the Forest of Myth. You go there one other time and it's not any longer. There's no other content in that area. There actually are some side quests and stuff in the area, but other than that, I mean, there's nothing. You can get a weapon there early instead of having to buy it later. We do that in True Ending, but this isn't True Ending. Although actually, I'm kind of wondering whether we have to do that, because I've been ending up with a surplus of money every single time I run that game. That category, I mean. I'm running the game right now.
I like that you just murdered those sheep.
Yeah, no, fuck the sheep. That's actually something I want to show off. I found out something so the DLC in the localization is called like 14 plus 1 dreams or something, and I never knew what the plus 1 was until recently when I was researching these costumes for the Bid War. There's actually a secret 15th mission that comes with the DLC, and I might show it off because it's fucking hilarious.
Is it kill the sheep?
It involves killing sheep, yes.
Alright.
Alright, so that donation, that bid war is definitely real.
Ooh.
Killer safety animals.
Ooh, wait a minute. Here's what we can do. I can actually, I can do a, oh god, but I don't want to kill the animals.
Well, it's too late now. It's up to chat. It's killer safety
By
animals.
the way, donate to save the animals.
Donate to save the animals because it's what Quo doesn't want.
Nah, but here's the thing. If we can get someone else with mod privileges to add like a $25 incentive called I guess, sheep massacre or something along those lines.
Oh, I was just gonna call it sheep %.
Oh, sure. Let's go for it, yeah.
25. I feel like we do much better than that.
You think 50?
I think like at least 75.
I don't know about 75. I think 75 is a
This
little bit
late at
unfair
night?
to people.
We got like 2 hours.
I don't know. What are we saying, Chad? What is your interest in sheep %? How much money would you be willing to drop on that, do you think?
Do you want to see the sheep live or die? That's your choice. You figure it out.
Got something to say.
Oh, no.
Let the masses do the talking, no? We don't see it. There's other stuff.
4-star chef, right? But she puts her
Rod would drop money. I think Rod knows what I'm talking about.
only a real jerk.
Rod's our boy, man.
What kind of
Yeah, but here's the thing, Rod. How much
it
money
Rod
would
the
you
other-
drop?
Is it Rod the other one that's gonna be up in DGen hours?
Yeah, Rod's gonna be up in DGen hours.
DGen
He just woke up.
Sorry, we have to change that to comfy hours. Thank
This
you
is
Comfy
comfy hours.
comfy lore hour.
Good morning, Rod.
I am indeed sitting here in a massive sweater, so we're fine.
Same here.
I actually might need to take my sweater off. It's fucking burning up in my apartment.
How can these beasts make us
My house goes between like hot and cold because it was built in like the late 70s, early 80s, so
Oh.
our insulation is absolute fucking
Big same. When the heat's on, it's burning, and when the heat's off, it's freezing.
I feel ya. I don't really have a good way to heat my place. I just use my computers.
Alright, so I will start sheep % at 50.
We can readjust later. We can reconvene. Because I want to do sheep %, but I also want to get money out of people.
Here,
Straight up, just milking it.
if we could, please donate to raise $50 for sheep %.
Keep in mind,
we
this
get
is
to
going
50,
to a good cause.
we do sheep %. If we don't make it to 50, but at least get one donation for sheep %, it'll still probably happen, let's be real.
Dale's just gonna make it happen no matter what. So you guys are just gonna kill the
Sounds
animals
good.
anyways. So
I can't.
ultimately, it's how badly do you want to kill them.
Maybe.
I'm sure Dale could find a couple
Yeah.
different ways to do it.
We're just sacrificing the sheep now so that we don't have to kill the animals later. The more important animals.
More important ones.
Really?
The
I don't
ones
think-
that technically end the world.
Let's not talk about this yet.
Help! Somebody get me out of here!
I mean, low-key, you never find any sheep in Automata. They probably go extinct anyway.
They are extinct.
But
You're
hey,
killing them all.
the boars and the
The
mooses
story
do not.
is that you murdered all the sheep for all the mutton. The village now has all the mutton, but there's no sheep because they couldn't reproduce.
Yep,
Because
so
you're killing
you
all
just
the
add a
sheep
mutton.
babies. So then the sheep go extinct, Automata rolls around, there's deer, there's boars, birds, but that's the only animals.
Yeah,
Period.
the meese definitely survive. That's a fact. But anyway, we're playing Resident Evil. We switched games while nobody was looking.
Yeah, welcome to the mansion, Spencer's mansion. So if you're a fan of Resident Evil, You'll be seeing this for quite a bit.
By the way, fan favorite character Emil, but what a lot of people who only know Automata don't realize is that Emil did not always look like the rolling ball head thing. This is Emil. I shit you not.
He's a boy. He's a boy.
He's the boy.
Leave her. That
He is
woman
blind.
We them boys. He is blind.
We'll
kind of.
discuss the blindness a little bit later, but
Right now, just pay attention to the fact that everything is in black and white except for NieR.
yeah, that's important. Actually, I don't remember exactly why this is important.
Automata
but I know
birds
it's
are actually machines. You're talking like real birds aren't actually machines. They're government drones to spy on us, dog.
Alright, so let's see. We have a $10 donation from Dr. Devin. Thank you.
Did he put it for? What did he put it?
Yeah. How's the character thing going?
He did put it towards sheep percent.
Ooh, hell yeah.
At least I can.
Let's see. Our
Yeah, how's the
bid
character bid war going?
Favorite OG NieR character. There has only been one donation to it so far.
Y'all,
So
get to
Emil
work.
is winning.
Let's smash sheep
Emil is
percent
winning by
and then have a good
$1.
bid war. Let's make it happen. Yeah, no, they just have to switch the batteries in the birds. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, I don't think I believe that. I think they just run on the energy that we produce in the game by destroying everything. They run off the blood that you see after killing everything. Like, come on, let's be real.
No. The government's changing the birds right now. That's why the coronavirus is happening. We all have to be inside so we don't see them changing the batteries. This is a well-documented fact, Mash. Wake up.
Such a terrible meme.
Wake up.
I think I'm awake. Alright, so now we're in a room with color, and this is Rubrum, aka the Red Book.
Yeah, the fact that this room is in color is also probably important, but I'm not sure how.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly why. I never really delved into figuring that out. I just know as much that this is Rubrum, and he's another important piece of the puzzle. We'll discuss the books a little later.
Ooh, actually, I could talk about this one now because there's like non-lore crucial, interesting information about this particular book.
Are you gonna talk about XYZ being book XYZ?
Yes.
Or the thing?
So, Grimoire of Ice. The books, were actually people at one point, or at least they're based on people. Their personalities are. Grimoire of Ice originally was a child soldier fighting a group of people that we'll talk about later. As a human experiment, they put these people into a room together, 8 of these child soldiers, and told them basically, only one of you makes it out, only one of you stays alive. So they all murder each other, and as they're murdered, they get sucked into, you guessed it, books. There was a girl, another child soldier, that Grimoire of Ice had feelings for, like romantic feelings for, in this room with him, and he watched her get murdered and sucked into a book, and that happened to be the book. So Grimoire of Ice absolutely just killed his romantic interest from 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, but the sad thing is Grimoire Weiss has lost like almost all of his memories from back then.
Yep, he doesn't remember
So
a thing.
he's slowly regaining the memories as we're continuing collecting these verses.
It's sort of implied towards the very end of the game that he does actually remember that happening.
But that's when we get the big reveal bomb.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. This story is very much a tale of tragedy.
Dude, every time we go see Yona, I get like a little tear.
Yo,
in my
did sheep
eye.
percent get met? Did it happen?
Like this disease.
Hang on, let me check.
We must find Grimoire Noir at once.
Shh. Anonymous has donated $50 and said, "Let the sheep commence."
Ooh, thank you, Anonymous.
And then Rod G also donated $50.
What?
Saying "gamers?" ?
Damn.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys.
Which has brought us up to $910. So thank you guys so much. Sheep percent Pog. As soon as I'm not in a team fight in League of Legends, I will update the coming up next to sheep percent.
Yeah, you're definitely in DJ now.
Reminder that we're almost halfway to 2,000, and if we hit 2,000 by the end of the night before we go to reruns and sleep percent, I will do something absolutely insane. So please get us to 2,000 by the end of the night.
Yeah. Also, we are only $90 away from bedtime story percent.
Oh, that is true. Quo would have to wake back up.
Well, no, we decided the deal is he would do it tomorrow night.
Oh no!
Since you guys are doing your race tonight,
Oh,
that's our version of the race for tomorrow.
Gotcha.
That's our real DJ hour plan. Is that Quo is going to read us bedtime stories, and they may or may not be in French. We haven't decided yet.
That would actually be cash. I would love to hear some French bedtime stories. For the first time ever, I'd actually be able to understand part of them.
So Rod, that donation, that was the $5 you're gonna give to me for the thing, right? I hope that's what it was.
I mean, I can cover you if Rod can't anymore. It's fine.
No, that's not. Ugh, never mind, Dale.
No, I know what you're talking about. It's for the outfit.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, things are happening. Bad things. So things are happening in the story. We have all 8 sealed verses after we took out Grimoire Rubrum, which was the red book from before. So now we have to find Grimoire Noir and reunite with him. Or so we think. Hint, hint. But right as we're about to go find the book and everything's looking good, oh, look at that! The Shades knew to attack the village right now when we had all 8 sealed verses.
Who's orchestrating this plan of disaster?
It couldn't possibly be someone who looks very familiar to us.
So anyways, this is Jack of Hearts. By the way, this is the name of the boss. You won't know this unless you examine the lore. Like
Yeah, they tell you some of the names in Xbox achievements, but they don't tell you all of them. So you have to read some supplementary material to know ones like Jack of Hearts or
I'm trying to remember the exact backstory to Jack of Hearts, but all you need to know is that Jack of Hearts can't be killed. So yeah, this is going to be a very
actually, I do know that. I do know that one. Jack of Hearts is a what word should I use? A cluster of very angry shades. It's the first time we're introduced to the idea that shades can group together and form a bigger shade, which isn't actually lore crystal, believe it or not. It's just a thing that they can do for some reason to make boss fights more interesting. Oh god, this looks terrifying with the Emil bullets.
There is a reason, actually. It's hard to explain. The game does. I don't know if the game explains it though, but there is an explanation for it, just not in the game, I think. Man, Rekka would know more about this.
But anyway, all that I can explain right now without spoiling the big lore drop later is that they came together and became Jack of Hearts because they are very, very angry. At us specifically, like NieR specifically.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. We sort of made that happen.
Yeah, everything that happens in this game is your fault.
Just FYI, everything we do in this game is just our fault. Anything bad happens, your fault. Well, Dale's fault actually. So you can blame Dale.
Kadabra's fault actually.
I'm gonna blame you, Dale.
Yeah, it is my fault.
Retreating to the library. No, that's where Yoda is.
Yeah, so Jack of Hearts can't be killed. Well, can and can't. That's two different things. But anyways, we'll learn more about that shortly. But yeah, this is like a really tough boss fight on hard. Pretty much everything he does can.
Just note how much health that took out on easy. Imagine that on harder difficulties. I did my casual playthrough on hard, by the way.
Okay. You can't get hit by shockwaves like that, especially playing hard, because that'll just like.
No, that would be a one hit. If we were the level we were and we're playing on hard, that would be a one-hit kill.
Like it did like, I would say almost a quarter of your health from that one shockwave. Yeah. So one thing that game doesn't really do a good job explaining is that you're supposed to go up here where Dale's standing and wait for him to approach once his health is basically nothing. There's like a sliver there. And if you don't do this, you completely fail this fight, and you have to restart.
Also, something else that someone just pointed out, this is a song that returns in NieR Automata during the Grun fight, which is very notorious among NieR speedrunners. Can someone in chat tell me whether the audio balance is good? Is the game too loud? Because I just looked over at OBS audio settings, and I want to make sure I'm not blasting people's ears out.
Oh man, this soundtrack is so good. I'm a little sad that people hate the Grin fight in Automata, because I love the fucking soundtrack they have to it. But
everything sounds
which fight is that again?
Sweet. That's the big one where it like takes half an hour and you're flying, and it's like the big whale thingy in the ocean.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the one everyone hates. I loved it casually. I really hated it in the speedrun. That's the reason I don't speedrun that game.
So the problem with that, I think, is just the boss fight in general is just on rails and it's just not interesting. But in this game, it's like so much better with that music playing because it works. But that song playing with that boss fight is just if you played it past casual, like it's just Anyways, Jack O'Hearts now is like kind of squished himself down. He's now a tentacle beastie now, and we're just kind of knocking out the tentacle points.
Oh my god, I missed. This is bad. He's gonna spin, he's gonna spin, he's gonna spin. Fuck.
Oh no.
Oh fuck.
Oh no. Oh no.
That could have been really bad, especially in the position I was in. That could have been very, very bad.
Yeah. So if he starts spinning, it just makes it harder to hit his weak point, and he does a lot of damage to you, and he just keeps knocking you around. But thankfully Dale recovered it. But yeah, so now he's gonna deal enough damage, and then he's gonna push it into underneath the library in the basement, and then Kanye and Emil are gonna seal it away. Because they can't actually kill it.
So,
as I mentioned.
Anyway, you may have noticed that there's a book in the library right now that's not Grimoire Vice.
Yeah.
Would you imagine
How did he
that?
get here?
So remember that book we're supposed to unite with, Grimoire Noir? It turns out we don't want to do that. We do, but we don't realize we do. So this lad who looks very familiar, very similar to NieR, just came down. He's called the Shadow Lord and stole Yona. Yona is no longer in our possession. She's currently like miles away through an underground tunnel and in the city that NieR Automata takes place in, I think, or something like that. Something interesting. I'm kind of bullshitting some of that, but it's a neat thing that I've speculated in the past.
You better go get her back for me.
Yeah, no, so now our whole thing for the rest of the game is that we have to go get her back. But one of the interesting things about, like, this section of the game, it's been a very, like, traditional JRPG so far, where it's like, oh, things are kind of nice, and you're going on this quest to save the world, and then suddenly this happens. And I'll talk about why I love that so much in a bit after, like, more things happen. But this is such a cool... This is my favorite plot development in any game ever, because it's just so unorthodox.
So, as we're fighting Noir here, he's stolen all of Weiss's power, so that's why we're kind of not really using magic right now. We're just kind of trying to get them back.
Yeah, every time you take out one of the timers, you get one of your spells back, but a lot of them aren't actually useful. Using the sword is, as it turns out, faster in this one part of the game. I'm in danger.
Yeah. You've been playing a risky boy this time.
Yeah, no, I'm more focused on doing commentary than playing the game. I'm not used to that when I do these marathon runs. Usually people are just shitposting over me.
This is how you really play the video game. Yeah, so he's in a bubble. He's supposed to be, like, undamageable, but you can still deal a pretty good amount of damage. You can see the health bar's just kind of shaking away until the shield drops. Didn't manage to kill him there before he went back in, but that's fine.
Yeah, 2 cycle is the par for that one, but I've definitely gotten 1 cycles before. I did 1 cycle Rubrum though, which is the exact same fight, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I was saying, so what just happened after that is they had to seal Queen of Hearts, the Jack of Hearts, I mean, in the basement, and Kaine was holding the door closed. And right as we were about to take out the book, Kaine started struggling, and Jack was about to break back out of the basement, so we had to deal with that. And while that was all happening, the book goes to try and kill Kaine to let Jack back out, but NieR gets in the way and gets close to the brink of death. You don't really see what happens after, aside from the fact that in order to keep Jack in the basement, Emil had to lift his face mask, which, as it turns out, things he looks at are paralyzed, which is why the mansion was black and white, because everything is stone in the mansion. It's a pretty neat development, if I do say so myself.
That would explain why that one room is colored.
Yeah.
He's never been in that room.
So anyway, as we're about to see, Kaine is still petrified 5 years later, and Jack of Hearts is presumably still alive in the basement. But what's really cool about that section is that for the first part of the game, like I said, things are going great. You're getting the sealed verses, you're saving the world, and then suddenly you, the main player character, the important, all-powerful savior of the world, loses. You lose. That never happens. Like in other JRPGs, you suffer minor defeats to give you like a power struggle, but you straight up lose. Like half of your party just dies, your daughter gets stolen from you, and the entire dynamic of the story shifts into one that's a lot darker. And as far as the structure of the story goes, I love it, because it really sets you up to just be like, oh god, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, I feel really bad for Kaine at this point. She's struggling with her own inner demons right now, and that's a whole other playthrough.
Yeah, also NieR gets an eye patch for some reason.
I think there was some kind of accident or something, or he's just like gone blind in the one out. I don't know off the top of my head what the hell it is.
I always sort of assumed it was because something happens to his eye while he's training, because he does get smaller. Also, we have a spear now, and we have faster movement. It's pretty self-explanatory. You roll twice, and then you dash. We're going to be doing a lot with these weapons later on.
The reason why he has to do 2 rolls after the spear dash is because there's a bit of a cooldown timer on the spear dashing. So the easiest way to cycle that in is just by throwing out a double roll and then follow it up with a dash, and that's just like way fast.
So
also you hit like everything out of your way when you're doing that, so yeah.
Ow. I felt like I had something else to say.
Nothing.
But yeah, no, the story dynamic is just beautiful, I think, because it's kind of deceptive. You buy the game and you're like, this is going to be an interesting RPG. I've never heard of this game. It must be pretty obscure. And it turns out it's actually like an incredibly well-written, almost a psychological experience. And I could make an argument for at least NieR Automata being the same thing. In fact, it almost by definition is, because of the whole thing they do with, well, I'm not going to spoil that game in case people haven't played, it's too recent, but if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. The story structure follows a very similar arc to the original NieR game.
I would say pretty much all of the Drakengard and NieR games do follow some sort of psychological pattern. That really does play with your feelings, your emotions, and your thought process a lot, and makes you wonder and think about things. Just because of how things unfold at certain key points, like you said, like pivotal points in the stories.
Yeah, so Rod just brought up something really interesting that I never thought of until recently. You have this camera angle here, right? And it's like, the first thing a lot of people jump to is Diablo. And for the longest time I did too. I'm just like, oh, it's another well-known game reference, cool. But this camera angle was actually present in another Drakengard game, and that would be Drakengard 1 in what are called event missions. And I think it might actually be a reference to that, because this is, for all intents and purposes, a story event.
Yeah. I think you'd be correct on that.
Yeah, I never even thought of that until Rod mentioned that a few days ago.
I think that would have to be something that I'll maybe ask Rekka at some point about that, because she would definitely know more about that.
Shoutouts to Drakengard 1, by the way. What a video game.
What's it?
So anyway, another thing I like to touch on around this point is that this is when the game really reaches like its drop into insanity. You'll notice that this environment is very different from any environment we've seen earlier. Even like the abandoned factory, which is like, you know, maybe like 2500s architecture. Nothing like fancy, modern, futuristic, but like a mansion concealing a whole ass hidden weapons research facility, which is what this is. Very futuristic. You see that things happened after the prologue of the game. You sort of think the world ended at that point, but you start to get this idea of maybe stuff happened after what we saw in 2035, which is when that prologue takes place. And it sort of eases you into the concept that something weird is going on here without really giving it away.
Yeah. So, as he's progressing through the floors, he's basically doing an escort mission with Emil because he can't see, obviously, because he refuses to take off the blindfold because he's afraid of hurting anybody else. Earlier on, when we were first here, you might have noticed statues out in like the courtyard and stuff. Those used to be all like people that worked at the mansion and stuff like that. But as Emil didn't know what was going on with himself because he is one of said aforementioned weapons that were designed here in this laboratory. So we'll get to that in just a moment here.
And that's what these documents that we keep getting are showing. Emil is learning more about the past that they wiped from his memory.
And they're all linked to a project that they nicknamed Snow White, which is also another reference to a fairy tale. Keep that in mind as well. So, and there's a good reason for that, actually. Very, very good reason for that. I think Dale might know a bit more about that. But anyways, do you have any more lovely things to say?
I mean, now would be a great time for donations, but I can also talk more about Project Snow White, because it's really interesting.
Let me see if we have anything. Nope. Go for it.
Hell yeah.
I fixed the sheep percent thing, by the way. I finally died.
Woo! So, sheep percent, goddamn. Project Snow White. I really want to kill those sheep, man. You have no idea. Project Snow White, yeah, that's what we're talking about. So it's weapons research. As I mentioned earlier, there were child soldiers fighting a yet unnamed group that we have not talked about yet, but that we will talk about at some point, maybe. If I remember. While that was being fought, one of the only ways that they were really able to compete was to create weapons that could actually kill the things, because just like guns and modern weaponry alone wasn't doing enough. Where is Emil? I need to know that. I need that information. There he is. Bruh.
Yeah, so Emil can be a bit of a pain in the
Emil,
butt.
I've never seen him be this bad.
Yeah, so Emil wants to, like, help you.
What are you doing,
like,
brother?
Stun the enemies.
I just couldn't see him. Shoutouts to camera angles. Okay.
So, because they have shields, Emil can't do anything to them until Dale here takes out the shields with the melee attack.
Yeah, so here, the thing, this is sort of, we handle this floor in a weird way, or at least we kind of try to handle it when we're not getting hit. Emil will only attack enemies that don't have shields, which means he will not attack enemies while their shield is up, because he knows he can't petrify them. So he will just run past enemies with shields, where he will not run past enemies without shields. So we purposefully kill all of the regular enemies and leave these shield enemies alive, which, as you can see, creates a bit of a mess sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's faster than trying to kill every enemy.
Yeah, so that mini-boss that just showed up, we don't actually have to fight him. We just gotta get Emil close enough that we can get to this door and then grab this document. And then that just proceeds us to the next floor. But yeah, as you see seen in that document, there was a brief picture showed on screen. It was 2 children. The other one is actually, well, we'll get to that in a moment, but that is another important character in this game that's only mentioned at this segment in the game.
Yep.
But I mean, this game goes very dark. Like, this whole section is very dark once you come back.
Yeah, so basically what happened is they resorted, the secret organization, the Hamelin organization, I think is what it's called, although I don't know if that name has any proper significance or not, but that's what it was called. And it had this leader, I forget his name, but he ended up, after being attacked by the enemy, deserting, and in order to prevent himself from getting killed, changed his name to Tyran. We're gonna be meeting that character later. It's a bit of an irony because the entire time Emil never realizes that he's been helping out, spoiler alert, half of Kaine is Tyran. We'll just put it out there. The entire time, Emil has been helping the man who signed off on all of the childhood exploitation that he went through. So that's neat.
Also turns out Tyrant isn't actually that awful of a human being.
No, Tyran is actually, he has a change of heart. Not during our playthrough, but eventually he becomes a decent human being.
Yeah, somewhat redeemable, but I mean, ultimately, it's still
an ass.
Yeah. Kanye makes very clear when you get to see the subsequent playthrough that she does not like him at all. But she just learns to deal with it. But right now, Kanye is kind of in dream state. But that was the last document we just picked up here, which revealed the rest of the Snow White project to us. But unless you actually go in and read the documents, you have no idea what the hell you just picked up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make a lot of sense until we get the the big bomb drop later, when we get some more documents that coincide with that. But anyways, Project Snow White had 2 weapons created successfully, one being Emil, and the other one being Halua, which is actually Emil's sister that's hanging up out here on the wall.
Yep.
It's this demonic-looking figure that resembles much of what Emil looks like in NieR Automata and later in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find out very shortly.
I wonder why that might be.
But this is supposedly the ultimate weapon.
Yep, Emil was given his ability to paralyze other creatures purely to keep her in check, because if she ever got out of control, that's the only way they'd be able to contain her.
Yeah, but there's a significant bond still between them, and that has some interesting happenings.
Yes, right now Emil is in her stomach. What we missed in that cutscene was Emil getting eaten by his sister who had gone berserk.
Yeah. And Emil managed to somehow... I'm not even sure how to explain what happened with that.
Basically, since he couldn't escape, he just... he was able to, in the state he was in inside of her, communicate with the bit of Halua that still remained. And they sort of formed a makeshift pact where Emil would get the power of both of them. So it's sort of touching. In some degree, Emil and his sister still get to be together for the rest of their lives. But it's never really posed that way.
Yeah. But yeah, so at this point, Emil now becomes the true ultimate weapon, gaining the properties of both characters.
Except he's not actually that helpful.
Yeah, surprisingly not very helpful. Kanye is just much better at handling things. But, so we free Kanye from petrification, since he now has the ability to do so. And we finally put an end to Jack of Hearts. And saved my beloved waifu.
Yep, so now Emil is in his outfit, which is funny as fuck, actually. I love that outfit.
So good.
So, yeah, the lore is very deep and intertwined, and surprisingly, there's not a whole lot of plot holes for how much is contained in this plot. This is an unskippable cutscene, so we're back to Discord.
Yeah, so normally in the speedrun, this is your, 5-minute break, kind of, to go, pee, do whatever you need to do, get water, whatever. Because this game is long enough as it is, and this is, the only time where you can, literally step away without doing anything for a brief while. You'll also get this right at the beginning of the subsequent playthrough as well, so, that doesn't really help us for that section, but it's a much shorter run.
Yeah, as of that boss fight, we're officially in the real game. Any subsequent playthroughs start with the fight against Jack of Hearts, who is officially dead now. That's worth noting. We were able to kill him with our 5 years of training.
Kind of.
Yeah, we sort of just yeeted him off into the distance, but he never comes back, so he's effectively dead.
Technically not dead, but not physically in this world anymore.
Yup. Actually, that is interesting. I just had a thought, but I'm not going to get into that right now because nobody cares about my weird Drakengard headcanons.
Yeah, sometimes the stuff that...
A lot of them are really big-brained, but, there's no proof as to whether I'm right or not, and that's kind of tragic.
Unless you maybe consort with Rekka, who may or may not be able to tell you.
Alright, so this is going to confuse a lot of people, because there's a lot of Drakengard background to go through for this to make sense, but... I have this theory that the power Emil used on Jack of Hearts to send him somewhere else might be the same technology that was used to send Cathedral City back into the past. Since it kind of just appeared out of nowhere. So people who know Drakengard are gonna know what I mean by that. But
yeah, it does state in the lore for the Cathedral City that it does just appear and becomes a staple in the Drakengard universe for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's an event referred to as the Cataclysm, and basically, a modern city from, you guessed it, about 2003, just kind of appears one day in 300 AD, and it brings with it the ability to channel magic, and that's sort of the prelude to everything that happens in the Drakengard series. So, my thought on that has always been... that something happens in the NieR universe that causes that to happen. Also, I'm grabbing a safety quest.
Gotcha. I was curious what you were trying to do.
I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do that or not.
Yeah, just in case the cell drops haven't been that great, which we won't really know until we need them, he's grabbing this quest that should give him just enough money to make sure that it's not an issue. And
the manga says...
It's kind of on the way, so it's not really much of a time loss.
So the mangas say a lot about that. That's interesting. I'm still really excited to read those eventually.
Hey, what's up, Kanye?
Yeah, what's up, Kanye? Welcome to this.
My waifu.
No, it sounds a bit paradoxical, but I think that's the entire point. the whole thing in the Drakengard and NieR series is that everything comes from what they call anomalies, which is an unexplainable event. The first of which, believe it or not, being the crucifixion of Jesus, which is a Christianity thing. I think that's a thing anyway. I feel like I read that on Fire Sanctuary once, but I need to go back and find that does sound familiar. But anyway, weird paradoxical things happen, and that's what causes the divergence of timelines. So if the entire thing was one big paradox, then that would make a lot of things make sense, actually. Which is, in and of itself, a very big paradox.
Yeah.
This series is really confusing.
Yeah, Drakengard, especially 3, which you're going to be playing, does a bit of a better job, I guess, explaining the paradoxes, kind of?
Yeah, Drakengard 3 especially is very aware of the fact that nothing makes sense, and it very much rolls with that idea. So you might recognize this area from 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we're back at the Lost Shrine, but we're going to get through a little bit faster, hopefully.
Yeah, no, the paradoxes in Final Fantasy 13-2 were not even paradoxes, they were just a fancy name for something that didn't make sense. It wasn't what it actually meant, what they actually called it.
Yeah, and it was also just alternate timelines.
Yeah, no, I love Final Fantasy 13-2, the game, but I didn't like the story.
Ugh, it hurts me to hear
God
those
damn
words.
it.
I'm bitter on those.
It was because I was talking about Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, it's just hearing that just makes
Why?
me... I have a huge rant to go in on that. But,
I actually love those games as games, just not as stories.
Yeah. 13 was actually... I liked
Fuck.
it. I liked 13.
I'm a very big story guy. If I'm gonna like a game enough to like dump time into it, I gotta like everything about the game.
The 13 speedrun is cash money. That's a sick fucking speedrun. I'm kind of getting wrecked.
Cool speedrun.
Huh?
Fuck.
Hate the game.
Team?
Oh my god.
Nope.
What is happening? Too many enemies, dog.
Dude, you're just getting destroyed.
Yeah, no, this isn't good.
Go for the ult, because after that few fails, like, you're just gonna have to do a few puzzles.
Nah, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be slag no matter what. There's no runs after this. I don't care how overestimate I am.
I mean, technically there is Sheep Percent and Drakengard 3, but
What's your point?
You are also running Drakengard 3.
Yeah, I know. I'm just pushing my own run back.
You're just extending DGen hours.
Fucking hell!
You do that all the time, though. Let's be real.
Extend DGen hours, or like...
Now that I'm doing
that
the
up?
easy version of the trick, I can't get it. I hate this trick.
Yeah, it's a bit of a timing precision thing, so...
There's a lot that goes into it for what it is, and it's like, it's really easy. And I know I shouldn't say that with how, but it's really easy to screw up, too.
Yeah, it saves, I think, around 5 minutes because you're skipping puzzles.
God damn it. Stop! Fuck me!
No, I will not.
I mean, I can make it an incentive.
Oh my god.
I think that goes against TOS.
Oh, maybe.
What is happening, dog? Am I not playing on easy? That's so much damage. Fuck off. I guess we'll show off the block puzzles. I'm bitter.
I'm hyped for block puzzles, but damn, I'm sad. Yeah, actually, these enemies, because they're armored now, do a lot more damage than when they weren't. So, and we're under leveled, definitely.
God, fuck.
All right, so these are block puzzles. Have fun seeing them. They're annoying. Yeah, did you know this game was a puzzle game? I didn't know either.
I'm almost disappointed.
I'm not even gonna go for that one. I'm just gonna get knocked back down. Fuck off. Whatever, the game really wants to see block puzzles. I haven't done these in over 2 years.
Now you know how I felt when I was doing Dot 3 with, like, the soldiers RNG.
Fucking hell.
Like, in Dot 3, the soldiers do something similar to what you just watched Dale happen. Basically, they'll just, like, just jump you, and there's, like, almost nothing you can do about it, because you just get knocked back, and just take absurd amounts of damage.
Imagine doing the intended route. Fuck off, NieR.
Game really wanted the block.
Erica says we need to extend degen hours.
Oh.
Well, if we want to extend degen hours for an extra 4 hours, we need to get to $2,000. That's what I've been saying.
What is the stupid thing you're gonna do?
You'll see it if you get
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't spoil it. It has to remain a surprise to build suspense.
I have a vague idea what it is, but...
There is a plum for you in chat.
Yo, thank you for the plum.
The poem? Poem? How do you say that
Oh yeah,
word?
the poem. I saw the poem.
OM?
Oh god.
Roses are red, violets are blue. These block puzzles are just here to frustrate you.
That's accurate. I'm very frustrated.
That's so good. Yeah, so we got a couple things in. Rod, thank you for your Tendo. Papa NieR, best NieR? Damn right.
Oh, wait, was that towards our bid war?
Yeah, that's
It
towards
was.
Papa NieR.
That's towards Papa NieR is the best character, yep.
The thing is Drakengard 3. It's the game will be Drakengard 3. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do in Drakengard 3 if we meet 2,000. Although it should be fairly obvious if you know how that game works.
Also, with that donation of $10 from Rod, we are officially only $30 away from real bedtime hours.
Ooh. What do you mean real? What? Oh yeah, the
Kosamar.
thing.
Kosamar incentive, yeah.
That thing, yeah. That's
As soon as they're calling it. It is still a thing.
I keep forgetting that's also running. So yeah, get that $30 in and then get an extra 1,000 and you'll be having some really comfy nighttime streams.
Exactly. For those who were not here earlier, Shuli has decided that we have to do something if we reach $1,000. It was determined that that thing is going to be Quo reading us Go the Fuck to Sleep. And we may or may not force him to translate it into French.
It's totally gotta be in French, guys.
If I'm really feeling it by the end of Drakengard 3, by the way, I may lower my requirement to 1,500. So, if anyone thinks 2,000 is unrealistic, but thinks 1,500 might be realistic, still make it happen.
Can we? Yeah!
I want to prove my insanity for the world to see, and by the world, I mean the 10 people who are still awake.
Definitely more than 10 people, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, is it really? Usually the graveyards are dry. This is actually the most poppin' chat I think we've ever had for a graveyard run.
Chat's comfy, man. This is
great.
This is
Bless
the
y'all for staying up.
most comfortable degen hours. It's alright, I've still got my 20-ounce Red Bull sitting in front of me and I haven't needed it yet.
Reminder that I made a suggestion to make these degen hours extended.
What's going on?
And it's happening after this. I regret the decision, but at the same time, I don't.
Lure them to the light.
But yeah, so we're
whether you regret it or not, we appreciate it all the same because everything we're doing here is to help out Shuli, because we love her.
Yeah. So if you guys can, do help somebody else.
Can I stream degen hours all the time, please? Usually when I stream, I do stream degen hours because it's the only time I can between like work and online classes.
I mean, I join you in that sometimes, but half the time you're earlier at degen.
Yeah, because your degen hours are like, you work like the midnight shift.
Yeah. So
I guess not anymore, but...
When did this become a run of Beyblade?
right now. I mean...
Yeah, after the refight of the second half of
Okay,
this
I
game.
have to remember quick kill, so I can only do that one fist.
So this boss in particular that he's finishing up right now, before this next boss, this is the second half
Fuck!
of the boss we saw like 2 hours ago. And then now we're fighting Tyrant.
Went too early. Now this fight's gonna suck.
And Dale unfortunately missed the quick kill.
Stay your blade.
And now Emil's running into that wall, which is another negative side effect, so now we have to go through 2 more phases. That's the really shitty thing about this.
Yeah.
If you don't get it immediately, you don't get it at all.
Man, Tyrant's just
Emil,
like,
get over here! There we go. So basically the way that fight works is you don't have to take down her entire health bar. In fact, the game won't let you. But the lower the health bar is, the more time you have once Emil gets over to her and starts casting a spell to bring her back. You can do it immediately, like I was trying to do, but you have to be really fast about it. Like, you pretty much have to start right at the perfect time. It's not easy.
yeah. So the idea for the quick kill is that as soon as you can target her with a Dark Lance, you have to knock her off the wall while Emil's like right next to her, so that it just immediately triggers that.
Also, yeah, Rod brings up a good point. If you think that was Beyblade, get ready for Dragon Guard 3.
Dude, I'm gonna Beyblade so hard in that.
So for the record, I've never even played Drakengard 3. I don't even know what the game looks like.
Oh, just think a game with very, very.
Have you ever used Microsoft PowerPoint?
There's a lot of that in the game, in particular sections, but I do want to point out that well, I'll explain more about the thing, but the game has got a lot of great humor and very good use of profanity and dialogue choices.
Yeah, this game takes itself very seriously, where Drakengard 3, in stark contrast, does not take itself seriously ever.
Yeah, the only character that tries to take themselves seriously, but no one else does.
Even the
main
final
character.
boss is just one big punchline.
Yeah, it's a great game. So
It is a really good game.
Okay.
It's good. Don't worry. You don't need to know anything about it. Everything's explained. The game has a lot of sections where it just has banter going on, and the characters just have something silly to say.
The value per frame is really high. Never have I seen a more accurate statement about Drakengard 3.
I will drop one thing, because we may or may not get the chance to hear it, but we will maybe discuss it. There's a character in the game that we'll meet that refers to himself in a very weird way of calling himself a trouser snake.
Oh yeah, no, we meet him.
Yeah, I know, but there's certain dialogues that we...
Yeah, I don't know if we get that dialogue or not.
No, we don't, because it's in the camp.
We do get a lot of his dialogue though, like the part where he's measuring something during a boss fight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines in that game. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it's great.
If it's like PowerPoint, would the value per slide be very high? Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Spring from the can.
Let's just hope that the power play plays nice and our inputs don't get dropped.
But no, can we please hit this 1500? I want to do this. I want to show off everything DOD 3 has to offer. Rod already knows what I'm talking about. I think MASH has figured it out.
Oh, I know.
Ame and Kaine probably have also figured it out. So donate, guys, if you want to see me lose my mind.
Oh, it's worth it.
It's very worth it.
I want to save you from that, that terrible embarrassment, but I don't know.
All right, Julie has spoken. She wants to see the something crazy, guys. So
All right, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. All right, so that means we need $530.
Okay, $530 between now and like what time will
The
that
end
be?
of
What time is it right now?
It's like we have like 3-something hours to do that. We can do it.
No, I'm trying to figure out if we're gonna be done with that before the morning run is the problem.
Shape the life
Should be.
Alright, well we have a new stretch goal that people can donate to called Dale Does Something Crazy.
Oh shit.
I put it in there for 530
Dale
bucks.
does something crazy. Even if you don't donate to that particular incentive, if you want to put it towards something else, as long as the ticker
that's
hits
fair.
1500 by the end of the night, I will.
You'll
do
do
the
something
thing.
crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, I can always just delete it if we want to.
I mean, yeah, it's just it might be good to track, but I think also
Trying to figure
speedrun.com
out- I mean-
only lets you donate to
Donate
one
to one
incentive.
thing.
That's the only problem.
Yeah,
and I want
overall.
people to participate in this bid war too. So
Yeah.
participate in the
Do the
bid
bid
war
war.
and also get us to 1500.
Yeah, we do have that OG NieR character thing going. I always forget that exists.
Yeah, we made that like 3 hours ago, I think.
2.5?
Something like
Well,
that.
it
I
was
don't
like
even know
30.
what time we're at. I don't use my own splits when I do these.
Top and near the best near. That's all we need to know.
It was.
Yeah, right now.
It was 2 hours ago, I think, because it was after I got back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you did go to the store. I also forgot that happened.
Cool. You got a Damascus seed. That's good.
Yeah, these are actually really good drops. I should not have grabbed that quest.
Yeah. Fluorite, amber.
I'm gonna go back and grab some boxes. Actually, I might not even need to proc the quest. I might just need to fine. Well, rip. Yeah, some of these are holes in the floor, and they're really hard to see because the
Like
grates
that
look
one.
very similar to the holes.
Who put all those holes there? That doesn't seem very work safe.
Yeah, no, this is definitely breaking multiple OSHA safety laws. I'm not gonna lie.
OSHA violations.
This is a big OSHA violation. I'm gonna have to call the NieR police. They're like the regular police,
Yellow
but in
drop.
NieR.
Yellow drop behind the box. Yes. Yeah, you got like 5 yellows so far. That's
Yeah,
so
no,
good.
for one, I haven't been grabbing the boxes, so like it would be even more time loss if I have to do that. But also, I'm getting really good drops, so I might not have to do that. Oh, there's another one. And if we get a machine oil, we're 100% set.
That's probably why I'm playing like garbage. I just realized that.
Yeah, finish those incentives and also do the bid war so we can get the $530. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's look at the where are those incentives at? Let me check that. So, the Mario Kart 8 upgrade to 48 tracks is currently at $40 out of $150, and our Final Fantasy X2 incentive to watch the 1,000-word cutscene is at 60 of 100. So $40 will finish off the Final Fantasy X2, and then another 110 will get us Mario Kart 8's upgrade, and both of those will just get us that much closer to Dale doing something stupid.
Objectively stupid. Like, it would be bad for my health. I would be staying up for way too long.
Like, I get to go to bed when you go to bed, so
Yeah, we're all in this for the long haul
we're all
until
in
we're
this one
not.
together.
We're already staying up pretty late. Like,
I'm gonna be.
I'm
dead
making
by
a
the time I get to
mistake
work.
by offering this this thing.
I mean, you were not required to stay up for Dale doing something stupid. You could go to bed.
Yeah.
Dale, on the other hand, doesn't get to go to bed.
I mean, I
Yeah,
already
this-
killed my sleep just by doing the thing we're doing. So
That's fine. It is fine. I have been up since 7 a.m. this morning.
that's all right.
I mean, at the end of the
What time
day,
is-
it'll be fine. I have a lot of caffeine that I can consume in my apartment, and I haven't had any caffeine today in preparation for the fact that I may need it. So, we're
Good,
fine.
your body's not immune to it. That's great.
You are not immune to propaganda. No worries. I absolutely want to do this thing. I just will not agree with myself in the morning. But that doesn't matter. That's my future self.
Yeah.
My future
in
self
a-
isn't important.
Yeah, in a game full of time paradoxes and alternate timelines, like we just focus on the now, right?
Oh god. It's already the morning. Come on, dude. Don't remind me. I'm gonna get tired.
Dude, I've been up for almost like 20 hours.
We did it!
Wait, what?
We got to 1,000!
Oh, we got to 1,000.
Yeah!
I thought you were about to say we got to 1,500. I was terrified.
I was so... If we had gotten to 1,500, you would have heard me scream at the top of my lungs, and I would have woke up half my house.
Rod wants to give shoutouts to your sanity, so thank you, Rod.
Yeah, hang on, let's read this. Alright. So yeah, so that was from Rod, so that was $30. It says, shout out to Dale's sanity. We are one step closer to Dale doing something stupid, but we have officially hit $1,000, which means Quo has to read us bedtime stories, may or may not be in French. Has yet to be determined.
And that'll be tomorrow night at around the same time.
Yeah. That will be DGen hours tomorrow night. Or comfy hours, because it's a story too. Yeah.
Actually, ideally, I would
comfy
know.
hour extender.
Ideally, I would know whether I'm doing the thing or not before we start Drakengard 3, because that would make the thing I'm doing a lot easier. I would know ahead of time whether I need to do something during the any percent run to prepare.
No. It'll just be harder for you, which is better for us, right?
Yeah, that's great. That adds like an extra hour. Thank you
Dale put it
guys.
towards the extent.
So Papa NieR's just like pulling ahead. People really need to like
Dale-
catch up to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rod put it towards Papa NieR, so now Papa NieR's at $40, whereas a meal has $1.
Dude. Rod's showing the love to me tonight. Rod, if I wasn't taken, man, I'd be over there in a heartbeat.
So I was supposed to jump off the bridge and into the water, but that didn't work out for me because I'm small-brained. So we're just gonna do that instead.
Yeah, so we went back to the factory for, I believe, a third time. We're gonna go back there once more.
Yeah.
And we were just like cleaning up the factory. We fought a unit called what's the unit called? This particular one that we fought?
That one was just a P-33, I think.
Yeah.
Most of them don't have names. Only one of them does.
But yeah, so he got hopefully enough yellows. He doesn't need to do the quest. I think he should be good because he got significantly more than average amount of yellows.
Oh no.
No.
Don't tell me.
No.
Wait, what?
There is something happening in Quo's Discord that is making me really uncomfortable. Erica, you stop this.
Oh.
That's great.
Somebody in Quo's Discord asked if My Immortal was a bedtime story.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. I like that idea.
I mean, I really hated that last time.
No, that was such a good gag.
But if it's in French, then maybe.
Can we please get My Immortal in French?
Is that even safe?
No, probably not. That's the point.
It's very edgy, you know, on the line. I'm just saying.
I think Erica wanted go the fuck to sleep, so I think that's what we're gonna end up getting.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica.
Okay, I'm gonna pay Quo to translate My Immortal into French now, though. That will happen. I'm gonna commission Quo for that piece of writing.
Scorpions look kind of like shrimp.
The beauty.
Great, more DGen additions to DaleDukk God Gamer streams.
Bro, the fanfiction joke just keeps getting worse. We're never recovering from ARPG Me 2018. We're not coming back.
Oh yeah. I mean, technically that was my fault. I'm sorry. I'm to blame for that when I looked up NieR fanfiction.
I feel like it wasn't actually gonna continue onward into the future until you let out that one scream out of nowhere, and then we realized we need MASH to continue reading fanfiction for us. There's no other option.
So the cool thing about that is that we had everybody assign particular lines out of a script for fanfiction related to the video game we're playing. And yeah, so I believe I was doing the lines for Papa NieR, which resulted in some very uncomfortable moments for him in said fanfiction. Who else did we have voicing lines? It was pretty crazy, but ultimately it was
I think we got panpipes in there back when he was still around.
yeah. Panpipes, it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful fanfiction reading. I think it was the most engaged reading I've ever done, like, period, in front of an audience, because I don't like reading books. It's just awful.
I'm making a lot of minor errors that are costing me a lot of time. I'm starting to lose my sanity.
It's a good thing you have a nice cozy estimate.
Yeah, it's a pretty comfy estimate, but I could definitely still... I guess now that I have the Phoenix Spear, it'd be hard to screw anything up, but... You know.
I mean, you kind of put, like, an estimate I would put.
Yeah, no, it's only just begun. If we hit 1,500, it's gonna get so much worse. Also, Rod, you need to, join me on a certain donation thing I'm gonna do. Because regardless of whether I do the thing, I'm still gonna do the thing. I'm gonna give it at least 5 attempts, and for every attempt, I'm gonna donate $10.
Oh, God. Oh.
So if I get it first try, that's only 10, but if I get all the way to the 5th, that's 50. So...
Yeah.
We'll be failing for the charity. Rod knows exactly what I'm talking about. Rod, match me.
I know exactly what you're... I want to match, but I
match me. $150 easy. Ame, match me. 200.
Alright. What I'll say, Mash, is that if you can't afford it, don't hurt yourself or your family or anything like that to be a degenerate. It'll be funny, don't do it.
Oh, I'm a degen all the way, believe me. I've done a lot of crazy shit, especially recently. So.
Jealous, kinda?
Yeah, no, it's a good thing actually that people maybe match him. So
I am ready for this. Like, look.
Yeah,
like
no,
I said,
it's
I'm gonna.
you don't even know what.
No, you don't even know what we're
don't.
talking about yet.
I don't.
It's so
fine.
sick.
If it's gonna make, hear me out. Hear me out. So I'm like I said, I don't even speedrun anything. I'm just kind of a degenerate that likes watching speedruns. Quo is one of my best friends, and I absolutely love Erica to death. Like I met Erica I think like 2 months ago for the first time, and she is one of my favorite human beings on earth. So any money we can make here this weekend to go towards helping her, one, afford all of this bullshit she has to pay for because fuck the American healthcare system, and two, just to help her out overall. Look, I am on board for it. I don't give a shit what it is. I don't care. I will stay up for the next 48 hours if it means helping Erica.
So, important event that's going to happen in the game. We're approaching what I like to call the Red Wedding for very good reasons. It's, I like to reference it to the Game of Thrones because I finished watching that section of Game of Thrones up until this point. So it's really important. So there's that red blood splatter. That is why it's called the Red Wedding. We skipped the cutscene involving that, but there was an important fight that led up to that. And now the king of Facade is really angry because a certain character that we'll talk about very briefly had a tragic death. And we're going to put an end to another species altogether by killing a boss named Rock here, who is the pack leader of the wolves that they've been at war with for a long time. Actually.
Okay, Rod, so here's what we can clarify for you. If we do not meet the $1,500, the only Drakengard 3 run I will be doing is new game, any percent A. That should tell you everything you need to know. But no matter what, I'm going to be doing attempts of the thing.
Don't you have a thing saved for the thing?
Yeah, I have a save file for the thing, don't worry.
Okay, good. So you can at least do that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely doing that no matter what.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so now Rod knows exactly what's up.
Yeah, so recently, actually, I was talking with another runner of this game that's been pretty active and crushing a lot of times and getting like ridiculous PBs. And they actually found that you could potentially one-cycle this boss before it even calls out the wolves to assist, before you can actually deal damage to the boss by hitting them early enough during the first encounter before he goes up on the pillar. So I don't know if you knew about that, Dale. It's just like kind of.
It is. It's just not like a. It's not so useful because he has so much health anyway, and you can only get like one make of his health.
It's only really going to be useful in like a New Game Plus run, for instance.
Because then you can deal a lot of damage really quickly.
Yeah. So with a fully upgraded version of the current weapon that we have now, that's really, really strong for any.
Plus a lot more levels.
Yeah, it's insanely strong when fully powered, even without the levels, that you could pretty much make almost all the bosses super cheese.
So this is easily my least favorite boss in the entire game, and you can probably tell why.
Yeah.
It just like doesn't work the way the developers intended it to work.
So yeah, Rock here is just not playing nice right now, but...
He never plays nice for me. I don't think I've ever had a good Rock. Come on!
So, this whole deal with the wolves attacking the Kingdom of Facade is due to, like, a huge misunderstanding that dates back to the previous king, I guess. And it's just been an ongoing war that just never gets solved. And then, ultimately, Rock dies, which, so poor puppers there. Rock is actually a really nice and awesome character. He's actually really nice. Surprisingly.
Wolves are extinct.
So that's why there's no wolves in Automata's, because we just made them go extinct, so...
Yeah, no, there are very much no more wolves in the entire world.
So you can thank your Kadabra for doing that. Or don't thank him, you can just hate him, because he is a bad guy right now. Doing lots of awful things. All to save his daughter, out of all things.
Also, me and Ika may or may not have gone on a posting spree, saying that Quo's gonna read that story, so he can't get out of it.
Good. Make him do that overtime work.
Look.
Hey, you can't put on a font and not, like, do some pretty major stuff. Like, come on. You know he knows the rules.
Yeah, no, this is an amazing marathon. We have comfy nighttime with Dale, Mash, Rod, and Claire. Is that Faith? I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, something like Grace. There we go. There we go. That's what it was. I'm thinking of like a lot of things. That's your name. I am sorry. So anyway, we have comfy nighttime tonight. Tomorrow night we have Doshin, which is another incredibly comfy run and a shitpost at the same time. So absolutely tune in for Doshin.
I got word from Cinnamon Bun that will be the last time that we ever see Doshin.
Is that really the last time we ever see Doshin? Okay, everyone has to tune in for Doshin then.
Yeah. So
that's a hard rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think tomorrow night's gonna go the same way, by the way, Dale. I think it's me and you.
Oh shit, hell yeah.
Shit posting all night together. Yeah,
fuck yeah. I am so down.
I'll be around a little bit later, around this time tomorrow.
Yeah.
What a good marathon, that's all I'm saying.
This has actually been fantastic so far. I am very happy.
And Quo was worried.
I think I had a text from like 8 a.m. saying that he was like scared or something like that. It was like anxious,
Hey,
I think.
You know what? Like, from my personal experience, when I first did my like own organized and set up marathon, like it is a bit daunting at first because of like just figuring out how to deal and manage these things. Until you've actually done it, it starts getting way easier after that point.
Oh
It
yeah.
definitely does.
The very first marathon you're ever directly responsible for is always like incredibly nerve-wracking, but once you see that things go well, it's all good.
Just don't do what I did, and then for like 3 days, don't sleep. So
Yeah.
that did happen.
Well,
by
I
the
was
way.
lucky in that I already had experienced staff that like helped out with mine. Yours was just like a thing you did.
Yeah. So, even though I had lots of amazing people helping out, it was very nerve-wracking for me. So I was just available and awake the entire time for 3 days straight, pretty much. So, I made a makeshift bed up in my office room, and I would just lay down listening to the stream. And there was at one point during one of the runs, it was like 3 hours. It came like an hour and a half under estimate, and they were like, "I think he died," because I wasn't responding. So it was just like them just doing random stuff until the time went off. So that I was like, "Oh, we ended early."
But we, maybe I'm not as nervous about this because I used to run ballroom for major events. I'd be up till.
It's always a good feeling when you're doing something that makes other people happy, or that even in this case supports somebody that is in need.
Oh yeah.
So
No, I mean,
please do.
the fact that we're already at $1,000 is already insane. If we actually hit that 1,500, that would blow my mind.
It would blow Quo's mind when he wakes up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, can we?
Yeah,
I
can
don't
we
even
actually
care
make
about
that
Dale
happen?
doing something stupid. Can we make this happen?
Yeah, like even if I have to postpone it to tomorrow because my wrist is starting to be a thing, like I will do the stupid thing tomorrow.
I mean, we're running the last run tomorrow. You're more than welcome
I mean,
to.
yeah,
I'll
that's
set
the
it
thing.
up.
We after Quo reads "Go the fuck to sleep," we can not go to fuck to sleep and watch my dumb thing.
Exactly.
But no matter what the dumb thing is gonna happen, rest assured, I'm just like, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but my wrist, I think I did, has been feeling weird the past couple of days. It's nothing that I can't work around, but if I'm gonna be gaming for another like 5 hours after this, it might start to become a problem. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll probably just do the dumb thing
Do you
tonight. I'm
have-
absolutely insane.
Do you have like a small? It's gonna sound weird. Do you have a small pillow?
Perhaps.
Because if you place that right under the wrist to try and keep it straight while you're holding the controller, it'll help with the type of pain.
I told them to get like a brace, man.
Mm-hmm.
I always have one of those on hand. You never know.
I have a lot of wrist problems.
Yeah.
And I play League of Legends.
Yeah, I type a lot at work, and then I come home and play a lot of video games, so...
Yeah, that's me, there it is.
That exact game that you mentioned is where mine originally like came to fruition, but it's for a completely different reason. But yeah, super important to take care of yourself, everybody. Make sure that you're staying well hydrated. By the way, very much
Yes.
drinking lots of water.
Please stay hydrated. Do we
And
have?
if you don't have water, but you do have water, maybe consider having tea instead of coffee.
No bean water.
Just saying. You can boil some water, maybe make tea. I'm a big
Yeah,
tea
wash
fan.
your hands right now. Big fan of washing hands right now. This would
Yes,
be
always.
a wonderful time for donations if we have any, by the way. We were just walking up the staircase for a bit.
I think we're still at 1,000. I think Rod's 20 donation 20
Yeah.
minutes ago was the last one we got.
Oh no.
I do want to mention that we're back in this factory, but we're only fighting a boss in just a bit. But yeah, going back to like the Red Wedding, so we fought the wolves, we killed Rock. The reason why the Prince of Facade did that is because the wolves had attacked the wedding party for his bride-to-be, which was Freya, which was the character that Kanye had saved earlier on in the story that we've mentioned. And obviously that would make any king mad and want to go to war, so that's exactly what he did. So unfortunately, a very beloved character in this game is super sweet, super gentle, much like the person that wore trying to raise money for to help them out. It's just something that I feel like everybody should do. Be a gentle, kind, loving person, and can support other people too that need it.
Big retweet on that one. Big word.
So yeah, we're fighting a boss here called P33, which also has a sub-boss to him.
Yeah, it's
which
BP and Khalil.
Yeah.
So we just did a sequence break, by the way. So normally at the very beginning and very end of the fight, BP will do this thing where he launches himself up into the ceiling and knocks down debris like we're seeing right now. However, if you take down his entire health bar before that happens, he'll only do it the one time because it'll mix the two together. So you're not supposed to be able to do that, but you sure can do that.
Thanks to the magic power of magic drops.
Magic drops and the fact that the Phoenix Spear is hella overpowered.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, this boss fight is super interesting. I sort of made a reference to it earlier when I said there would be a boss fight here later that's really, really important for Automata lore. Those who have played the game might remember this storybook story from the 9S playthrough where there's a factory and a giant god machine comes out of the factory surrounded by other machines, sending out a code saying, "Do not destroy us, we are peaceful," and tells them that they should have a thing that they hold special to them. That is BP, the machine we just killed. He manages to escape the factory like years later with the help of a bunch of other machines from the factory, and actually converses with the machines from NieR Automata. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah. So that whole sequence actually ends up going the way it does, with Khalil being defeated, because Jacob and Gideon end up venturing to the factory to collect supplies for their shop. And unfortunately, Jacob ends up being crushed underneath a bunch of debris. Not at the fault of the robots, mind you that. The robots were actually going to try to help them, but Gideon saw them there and always hated them, and just put two and two together mistakenly and said, "You guys caused it," and that's the reason why now Gideon's just
the even deeper irony that you find out in ending B and onward is that it was actually Gideon's fault.
Yeah.
He knocked over a bunch of debris by being careless.
But obviously it's easier to find a scapegoat, right? Instead of blaming yourself.
Yup. So rip him up, as Gideon always says.
Yeah, so Gideon's like really distraught, really confused, and obviously going insane. So now we're at another boss here. It's the memory tree. And it's very important that Dale pays attention to certain lines of dialogue here, because there's 3 possible combinations for 2 possible answers that he needs to get right, or he has to redo this entire section, and it completely randomizes each time between the 3 options. So he needs to go back in. It's going to randomize again, so he needs to pay attention.
Got it. Slowed down a bit that time.
Yep. So this part has a color and a number that he has to pay attention to. They are canon to a certain extent, but they reference back to the Drakengard series in events that already happened. So getting these correct allows you to advance to the last dialogue option choice, which out of the 3 possible answers, every single one is actually correct. Believe it or not. So, but yeah, that's the memory tree boss. Very super simple. Everything in the Forest of Myth is based around text stories. And there's a whole sub-quest in this area that we skipped over earlier that leads up to this, where we free the other villagers here, and they're trapped in a bunch of similar situations that you have to solve. And one of them is actually a text-based adventure, which is actually really, really cool.
Oh, I love that one.
It's super cool. When I found out you
Yeah.
don't need to do it though, I was like, oh my god, this saves so much time though.
The other one's really cool too. It's a riddle, which isn't that exciting. But before that, they have this whole thing where you're like walking through a... I really screwed that one up. You're like walking through a city, and the way they describe things, I don't think it's like Tokyo or like a modern city. I think it is Cathedral City, which is really cool. I went back and read it recently.
Beta gamma thing.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one's actually really tricky to do, because you really do have to think about it, especially if you've never done that riddle before.
Yeah.
But it's based off of an older riddle, which I forget exactly what that one is.
Yeah, it's just a bastardization of a really common riddle. It's
Yeah.
the one where it's one is telling the truth, two are telling lies, and you have to pick which one's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I could tell you the answer because it's the same every time, but I want people to go play this game after this run and experience the game for themselves.
So even as much as we're trying to explain about this game, there's still be a lot of things that you won't understand.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot in any percent, a lot of story content that you never see. Even in True Ending, there's so much we skip over.
Yeah, it's impossible to go over everything because you'd be here for like almost a week, I would think. trying
Yeah,
to go
no,
over it.
there's a lot going on in these games, and they're all like really well written and cohesive.
Even though everybody thinks to beg to differ on that one.
Like, it's
but-
not that complicated is the interesting thing about it when you really get right down to it. The issue
But-
with it is that there's just
Yeah.
so much of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to take in. We're also small-brained human beings.
Fucking
so-
hell. Whatever. I'll take the time loss. I've never had that happen before. I swear to God, I'm not playing on easy. Something's weird. It doesn't feel right.
Well, unless you set it hard at the beginning of the run.
Well, I'm definitely not playing on hard, but I don't know if I'm on easy. That's the weird thing. I have to be because I was able to just get that quick kill, but I've never seen those enemies be that aggressive.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
So,
the outfits. Maybe the outfits
as you-
do something.
I don't think it's the outfit, but we can blame the outfit if that's what you want to do.
I don't know. It's the only alteration of the game I can think of.
Yeah. So we're back to the area for another boss fight here. You know, wait, what? We're going back to the same area from a while ago for another boss fight? That's a little unorthodox, you think? There's a good reason for this, though. Yeah, there's some important stuff that's going to be going on, and we have to do a little bit of other stuff first. So Dale's going here for a shop that he got told to go check out.
Yeah, it turns out the area, which is notorious for being very like shut in and secretive, decided to open a market, which is very uncharacteristic of them, which led Popola to believe that something weird is going on. And it turns out something weird is going on. Stay tuned for what that might be.
Yeah, so he asks the mayor what the hell's going on. The mayor has obviously no idea.
Yeah, the mayor actually doesn't know that this is happening, so we're like, what the fuck?
Alright, cool. So Dale jumped off there to land on the lower platform without falling off, and that allows him to just get over to this area quicker to go check out the marketplace, which does have a shop that has a missable item in it. If he was doing the other endings, he would want to grab it, but he's just stocking up on some stuff. And he's going to talk to this guard here, who's going to start spouting everyone, and keep repeating that line. Because that's important.
Whoops, they're all shades!
Yeah.
Imagine that!
So the entire area is actually just a bunch of shades. good plot twist.
Yeah, the entire town. That's why there's such shut-ins.
With, I believe, the exception of the mayor.
Yeah, I think the mayor's just some dude.
Yeah. Well,
He's kinda just
there's a
vibing.
funny story with that, actually. Well, it might be a hypothesis for me, but I've deduced that the mayor was never a shade to begin with. He's the only one that isn't a shade, and we'll explain like what a shade is a little bit later. Because it's very important that even though we don't know what's going on with these shades and why they keep showing up, every time they show up, there's a good reason for it, and that's because we're here. The shades show up wherever we are.
Yep, the shades don't actually attack the town. That's a bit of foreshadowing to what's happening. They're never, like, purposefully attacking innocent individuals. They're not feral.
And
Actually, some of them are, but that's a whole other thing, too. None of the ones you fight in the game are actually feral.
Yeah. But these villagers are actually just yelling at us in between some dialogues here that is basically just saying, like, leave, like, you're hurting us, and stuff like that, because, yeah, we're just being a bad papa right now.
Yeah, this is your first hint that maybe you're not the good guy.
Yeah. But, I mean, we only care about $1. By the way, I didn't mention this earlier. Oh, that was the thing. So we've been picking up tutorials in this game as random item drops. Yeah, shoutouts to that. This game...
I hate that.
Useful tutorials behind random item drops.
Yeah, no,
You
some
may
of
or may not
the
ever
some of the
get.
things in the game you may just never learn exist because the tutorials are randomized. Take that in. I love this game to death, but that's so bad.
Yeah.
I always forget about that because I already know how to do everything, but you're right, that is a thing.
Yeah, that was the important thing I was going to mention, because that's like a huge thing for people playing this game for the first time. They're just going to get like a random drop, go to pick it up, think it's an item, and it's just a tutorial. What? I already know this. Or, I didn't know this. How come I didn't know this like 6 hours ago?
Yeah, I didn't know wall jumps were a thing until like a year after playing. Oh my god, I'm really getting toasted this run.
Alright, so even though Dale fell off, he's just gonna get reset on the platform, thanks to like mechanics such as like Mario Kart, where it's like you're not supposed to be here, put you back inbound, but you take a health penalty. But this game also doesn't like hurt you in the fact that if you don't save, that it's just like an immediate game over. You actually do get fairly lenient checkpoint systems.
Yeah,
So-
dying isn't really that scary, you just don't want to do it. Oh god, this looks cool with the Emil faces.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So this is Wendy, which is another reference back to
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. So Wendy is basically the embodiment of all the shades in this village now.
Coming from the middle of that eye.
And obviously something bad's gonna happen when we kill Wendy.
Keep in mind that we've been collecting fragments of a key to the Shadow Lord's castle, and they're all named. This one's name is Sacrifice, so that should
Yeah,
give you
that's-
some idea of what's about to go down.
Yeah, it turns out the keys are all individual. I don't know how to explain what the key fragments are really. But there's huge attachments to them to like everything that's going in the story, as well as like past events. So
They are, I don't remember what the first one you get is called, but there's the Law of Robotics, which that one obviously is the factory. The Memory
that's where-
Tree, which is the text-based adventure we just did. Loyal Cerberus was in the desert.
yeah, that
And
was
like I
rough.
said, this one is Sacrifice.
Yeah, I believe the first one is Stone Guard.
Okay, now would be a great time for donations.
I don't think we have anything new, but I did just post a massive little spiel
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
no, if you
chat.
want to say that out loud, go for it. Just interrupt me at any time.
But I was gonna point something out just because my brain picked it up as somebody who put a little too much time into NieR Automata. This village we're jumping around looks mysteriously like Pascal's.
Yes.
It's a good thing you mentioned that because there's some relevance to that. I don't know the
sick.
I don't know the full details to it, but it is relevant.
Yeah, that was just the thing going through my head.
Yeah, here's the thing about that, I think, and Mash, Mash, you have something to say? I feel like I'm interrupting you a lot.
I was going to mention that we just did a little thing where we skipped a camera lock cutscene with Emil telling us to fire, like, that he should get a better vantage point. So we got up on the ladder quickly to avoid losing time. But other than that, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so anyway, the Pascal's Village thing, you're 200% right. So the way the machine's special thing works, like I was talking about earlier, is that they latch onto one piece of human data, presumably from the memory tree, which is a thing. The memory tree is a supercomputer hidden within a big tree. That's what that is. It recorded all of human history between the end of the world and now. So they grabbed information from there, which is why you see the library in part of NieR Automata as well. But Pascal's Village was structured because whoever built the village, at least this is my thought on that. This is far from canon, just keep that in mind. But my thought has always been whoever built that village originally latched onto the area. Similarly, a lot of the robots in the desert in NieR Automata have masks on, and those are the same masks as the prince wears from Facade.
Yeah. All of the robots in the abandoned factory don the mask at a later point because they latched onto the memories of the people of Facade.
So we know that they're getting memories from somewhere, and that's always been my interpretation of that. But
I mean, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to go with that as far as like canon-wise goes, but yeah, it might be a little loose around.
There's nothing to really necessarily say that I'm right about that, just that I'm not wrong about that. So definitely take that with a grain of salt.
So now that he's collected all the key fragments, which Stone Guardian was the first one, we did get the sacrifice just recently. They all have a tie to basically the events of humanity, and obviously present-day events that have been happening in the game here. And that will unlock the gateway to the Shadow Lord, which is well hidden, but not. Apparently, Popol and Devila are revealed that they've known about this for a while, and we're kind of really upset still that they're keeping all of this information and still not telling us everything, but they're just letting us do our own thing now because they're fully aware that we're not doing what we should be doing.
Yeah, Devil and Popol have known things that we don't the entire time. But that's all you'll find out about that until I get this skip again, because we're going back to the Lost Shrine, and I don't want to be thinking about something else and messing it up. But after we get through that, we're about to go into lore time for about half an hour.
Well, while you don't think about that, I will do that spiel.
Alright, go for it.
So I posted this in chat, but I'll go ahead and reiterate it here so that he can focus a little bit. We are actually at about $4,710 raised in total throughout all of IckaAid from when it started back in February. There is a GoFundMe page going as well. So if you include the 1,000 from the stream thus far and what was on there, that's our total that we have raised overall for Shuli 91. So a big shout out to everybody who has donated throughout the entirety of the fundraiser, not just tonight, not just once, not just twice. Everybody has done something here, and I absolutely adore this community. What you guys have done and put together and are doing for someone is just, it's beautiful, and you don't see it that often. So big shout out, thanks to all of y'all, thanks to Quo for putting this entire thing together, and with the help of, if they're still in chat, I think EC and CJ, and just a big shout out to all of y'all. Thanks for everything you've done. But yeah, I wanted to get that total out there because it's super close to 5,000.
Yeah.
And I want to hit that.
It's amazing, actually. That,
Yeah, no, this is
that people are
crazy.
very much caring for other people. I mean, it's astounding, really. I have this like big mental persona image that like humanity just hates itself, and it's just like, why not we just burn it all down? But like, it just goes to show that like there is really nice and deserving people that really do want to help other people out in times of need. So, good job for everybody.
It's one of those things too that like I said, like I have ever since I've joined like the speedrunning community is where I've started to see it the most. Like, you guys in particular, like the speedrunning community as a whole, not specific games, even just everyone is so nice. It's ridiculous. Like, everyone I've met is like some of the nicest people I know, and I don't understand how that works.
Who knew that sharing and enveloping a hobby and passing it on and learning from each other could turn out to be very rewarding in its own way, but also allow us to get together and do some positive good things other than just play video games.
Right? God.
You know? So, it's a big thing, and everybody should, be part of something like that. Even if you're not a speedrunner, even just being part of the communities built in around them, everybody's super involved with helping you out, even if it's just learning the game, not necessarily as a speedrun, but just maybe learning more about it, maybe learning some cool things, getting involved with the community. It can be a really beneficial thing for both you and everybody else involved.
I mean, we've got sick NieR story time. Like,
Yes, we do. That's coming up. The things that are about to happen are going to blow everyone who does not know the story of this game's mind. I don't think y'all are even ready for the amount of big brain storytelling that this game is capable of.
Also, can we just get a clap because Dale actually got that skip this time?
Yeah, no, I don't know how I did that. Okay, so I was talking earlier about how I love the story structure of this game because it has this habit of lulling you into this false sense of security before shattering everything you thought you knew into multiple billion pieces. It did it again, and you don't even realize it. So everything that just happened was really depressing, right? Like, you caused the extinction of all wolves over a misunderstanding. Gideon's brother's dead. That's a tragedy. The entire area is now destroyed. It's been blown up. Everything's just really depressing. But on top of that all, even with all that, you benefit from that suffering by being able to save Yona. Except, here we go. Devola and Popola the entire time have been some of the primary antagonists of the game, helping you on this quest so that you can come here and literally die. The entire point is to kill you so that they can, well, not really kill you, but incapacitate you, so that they can put the two books together and put all of the shades in all the bodies of what you think are humans. They're not humans. You've been playing as a robot this entire game, except it's a very, very complicated robot, peak AI.
You're more or less an android of some sense,
yes.
But you've become sentient to the point where you're defying your own program.
I'm going over a lot, and I probably need to slow down, but basically the way this works is that back after the Drakengard 1 incident in 2003 Shinjuku, salt started falling from the sky, and anyone who came in contact with the salt would be contacted by a god, presumably the Queen Beast, who would basically say, yo, make a pact with me and become my slave for the rest of your life, or turn into a pillar of salt. They called it the white chlorination syndrome because the victims would turn into salt, the chlorine.
Yeah, it was like an ash-like substance.
I don't know chemistry, but table salt, it has chlorine.
NaCl.
That's it. Yeah. That's the one. Sodium chloride.
That is basic table salt.
Yep, sodium chloride. They would turn into that. So the ones that made the pact with the god turned into what they called Legion, which is what humanity went to war with all the child soldiers and exploitation and human weapon research. That's what all that was for. It turns out the only way to cure the white chlorination syndrome, to stop anything from happening to you, was to separate soul from body. So they would pull the soul out of you, and that would be called the Gestalt, which is what we've been fighting the entire time as Shades. So every time you've been killing a Shade, you've been killing a real, actual human soul. So going back to something that I only just now realized, this time playing through the game, I was talking about how every time you go into a 2D section, something lore important is happening. That is true. There was one 2D section during that boss where we fight Captain Hook. And there's those balls that we were fighting. That's what was happening during that part of the game. It turns out those are babies. Those are human babies.
Yes, we'll meet a character.
So that is lore important.
Yeah, we'll meet a character very shortly here after this little fight.
God, my voice is really starting to go.
But yeah, so there's a boss after this small fight here called Mother Goose, and the reason for that is that she has a bunch of youngs, aka babies. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the bad side effect to this is that we're gonna have to kill them all.
Literally Mother Goose.
Yeah. So we're not supposed to win, so Mother Goose is technically indestructible. And we'll find out more about that in a little bit, and we'll explain it, because obviously we're going to skip the cutscene that details that. But there's some dialogue that goes on, and they talk about, like, the fact that, are they even hurting it? And, yeah, they are hurting it. They are. Every time they're killing a Shade, they are destroying a part of humanity. What's left of it, anyways. Yep. So, eventually when we get to NieR Automata, it's basically
it gets more tragic. So, I made a very quick mention earlier about how the Shadow Lord that came and kidnapped Yona looks very suspiciously familiar to NieR. It actually is NieR. That is NieR's proper human soul. What happened in the very beginning of the game that's not very well explained in the game, again, 90% of NieR happens outside of the game. When he touches the book Grimoire Noir, or at least a copy of Grimoire Noir, he unlocks that magic ability. He's the first and only human to have ever been able to do that. The reason for that is because his soul is strong enough to not go into something called relapse, which essentially causes the Gestalt to go feral and attack anything non-discriminately. That's also, when that happens, what causes the black scrawl on the replicant, because they're connected via a stream of data.
And all of the villagers that you see that look human are actually just replicant bodies that are waiting for a soul to be attached.
So the black scrawl is actually just data corruption. It's not a real disease, and it's not curable. So, because NieR wasn't able to, he was able to become a Gestalt without going into relapse, they were able to extract something from him called Demonic Element, which prevents other Gestalts from going into relapse. It essentially preserves them. And they've been, Devil and Popola, the model of androids rather, there's a whole bunch of Devil and Popola models, as I think a lot of people who played Automata probably are aware of. But they're meant to oversee the whole operation and make sure that in however long into the future, 1,000 years, the thing that's supposed to happen actually happens, which is what we're seeing now. They're trying to make it happen. They have also been making sure all of the Gestalts are being preserved with the demonic element. By killing the Shadow Lord, which we do, we are effectively dooming humanity because every Gestalt goes into relapse. They can no longer be put back in their replicant bodies, and humanity goes extinct. So by saving your daughter, you doom the entire world. That's what this game is about.
Yeah, so we get that huge lore drop probably about a few minutes from now.
Yeah, about 5 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, but one thing I did want to go back and mention that we had an encounter earlier on when we entered the Shadow Lord's castle after we were going through a repeatable room that can kind of take some people some used to figuring out because it is a bit of a riddle to solve. And obviously, all the answers are from the game's in-game lore. And if you don't read those documents, you may not know how to get out of that room and advance further into the encounter with Bubble and Debla, which then try to convince you, by giving you options, to go back and just live out the rest of your life. And not do what we're about to do. Or continue on, but there'll be dire consequences. And obviously they're foretelling exactly what we just, mentioned.
Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering whether NieR and Yona get the chance to spend time together before they inevitably die of the Black Scroll, no, they die within the same day.
Please hurry!
So, it's not even worth.
No. So all of this is basically inevitable. Bad things are going to happen no matter what. The only difference is that there's no chance for humanity at this point. It's pretty sad. Like, really, this is why this game gets really emotional for most people when they play it, especially for myself or anybody else that's like played this game a lot and really devoted a lot of time to it. It's crazy.
It's a very depressing video game.
But the cool thing to note is that a lot of the game and all the story is basically derived from real life experiences and events in real humanity as it exists currently right now. So it's an interesting way for Yoko Taro to explain all these important messages and all of these things that we're pretty oblivious to. Like our character actually is just oblivious to all this stuff going on until it's finally revealed. But by that point, he's gone too far. He just wants his daughter.
Yeah, NieR doesn't actually believe that the things he's being told are real.
Yeah.
And he never does. He dies of the Black Scroll still thinking that he did the right thing. What a fucking video game.
But yeah, so the King of Facade comes and helps us out with Mother Goose. Obviously, we can't kill Mother Goose, so the King of Facade, as his last duty to his people and as a debt to be paid to us, they will ultimately sacrifice their own lives so that we can escape by prying open the doors and keeping Mother Goose busy. Well, we go on and fight our doppelganger, more or less. Which is the real version of us. Well, we are a sentient AI caused by the fact that he interacted with Grimoire Weiss from earlier on in the game, like over 3 hours ago.
Another interesting thing you wouldn't know from just playing the game, it's all in supplementary material, but I found it really interesting. The replicants weren't originally designed to be sentient. They were only designed to participate in the ritualistic disposal of the masso, or the particle that would cause you to get white chlorination. But by continuing to perform that ritualistic behavior, they eventually develop sentience because of the advanced nature of their creation. So initially it wasn't even supposed to get to this point. They kind of just really fucked up in the way they handled it. So it's not really even just NieR's fault. Like, a bunch of people fucked up to make this happen.
Really quick,
Sure.
Shuli wanted me to add on to our little spiel that we did earlier, and she just wanted to let everybody know, like, what the money's going towards and stuff. The fundraiser has officially been able to pay for some pain treatments that she has been doing that are not covered by her insurance at all, and was able to help her pay off a piece of medical equipment that she's been working on paying off for a while. so she was able to completely pay off the walker that she uses.
Yo.
That's awesome to hear.
So she just wanted to give like actual physical items for everybody to start associating those two. So this is paying for things she needs to have mobility and her medications right now, and that's where we're helping her literally live. So
Yeah. So Dale just defeated Popola and Devila.
Yep,
Which,
they're both dead now.
well, these particular models anyway, is
Yeah.
the last line of defense from us destroying humanity. And I believe it's, Popola ends up doing some crazy magic. And the only way that he could escape with Kanye was for Emil to ultimately sacrifice himself.
Yep, so Emil's dead. Don't worry about it.
for now.
Yeah, for now. There's a whole other thing in Automata that goes on before that.
Yeah, no, Zeno makes a good point in chat. It's a really nice touch that right after you learn all that information, they bombard you with a bunch of shades. And there's never any dialogue about, like, hey, I shouldn't have done that. You just do it.
Yeah.
It's just never brought up.
One of the items that you constantly get from the beginning of the game when killing shades is, like, coloring crayons, school books and shit like that. Like, these are children. Like, these small little shades are children. Keep that in mind for this whole section that we just did right after the bomb. That we were literally just slaughtering what was left.
Keep that in mind with the item drops too. At the beginning of the game, those small shades outside the village drop school books.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're just like kids going to shade school.
Hope to stand against the Shadow Lord.
Yeah,
You literally
they
just
don't have-
slaughtered kids. They don't even attack you. Actually, if you just sit there, they don't attack you.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah, only later in the game did they actually pose a threat, but that's because they have no choice at that point.
Yeah, at that point they've learned to defend themselves. The only reason they're getting smarter is because you keep attacking them.
Yeah. So that first phase with this fight was defeating Grimoire Noir, and in doing so, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but we have a fight with our supposed self, who is very angry about all of this and just wants to save himself and his daughter. But obviously, we want to save ourselves and our daughter. So only one can stand, technically.
So in that cutscene, what we just saw is that Yona walks... The camera angle in that scene is really good, actually. I'm going to try to describe it, but I'm not going to be able to do it justice. Okay, so basically, it's like a 2D... It's like Yona and NieR, like Replicant NieR, are on like the same, I guess, like point of reference. And you see them walk together to embrace, and then Yona walks past him. And it like freezes on that, and you can just like see... You can feel what the character's feeling. I've never played a game quite like it.
Yeah.
And then what basically happens is, and I don't want to share her body. I'm gonna actually kill myself, and so she does. And now Yona's dead. Her soul is gone. No matter what we do, she's gonna get the black scroll and die.
Yeah.
It's already over at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
There's a lot going on in this fight. It's so good.
Is this the last one?
This is the last phase, but there's still a bit more afterwards before we call time.
Okay, that's what I was
There's
checking on.
another thing we have to do.
Lit out for a second.
Yeah, so this section of the fight is basically we have to damage these rings, and which will put an end to this. And in doing so, he's just like hurling magic at us to just keep us away, and ultimately...
Alright, very close to time.
Yeah.
Alright.
But now the important part, the last bit of remembering that Yona does with us, and obviously Dale needs to remember what his username is.
Yep, so to bring Replicant
What's my favorite?
Yona back to consciousness, we have to tell her her favorite person. Her favorite thing, I mean.
Which obviously in this case is Kadabra.
Yeah, apparently she really likes the Pokemon Kadabra. And that's time.
now we have some really nice cutscenes, and each one of these cutscenes at the end is different in every single subsequent playthrough. And I will note that there is 4 versions of the same ending song, all done in a different language. English for the first one, I believe French for the second one. Third one, I believe, is Japanese, and there's one in German. That might be the wrong order, but...
I don't remember the order either, but you're right. Those are the languages.
But those are the 4 languages that are based around this game, and they're very important that they're all done in those languages, because they had not only... And I believe it's the same singer for all 4 of those.
It's so sunny today.
Which is pretty crazy. I think Japanese one might be a different person altogether, but it's a nice little subtle touch with this game that there's multiple soundtracks and songs that you hear throughout the game that are varying differences.
I think Emmy Evans does all of them, actually.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing that I always bring up and somehow forgot about the soundtrack is they do this really cool thing. You might have noticed that every track in this game is vocal, but it never distracts you from the dialogue. There's a really, really interesting trick going on. All of the lyrics and all of the songs, except for the credits theme, are just really, like, well planned out gibberish, basically. It's not a real language, it's what they call chaos language, and the idea is it's how different languages would progress years into the future. So, like, Grandma, I know, is, like, chaos French. I don't know what a lot of them are, but they're all, like, based on a language, but they're not real. So you never get focused on the lyrics instead of the dialogue, and I really like that touch. Drakengard 3 does the same thing, so now that I've mentioned that, pay attention during some of the boss fights. Yeah, future Japanese.
Hey Dale, how long is sheep percent?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about sheep percent.
Go back in there, sheep percent.
Like 5 minutes.
This is 5 minutes, alright. Alright.
We're just gonna skip that.
But,
what was my time, by the way, just out of curiosity?
3:33:43.
Oh, fuck, that was a lot faster than I thought. I thought it would be at, like, 3:40.
No, 3:33:43. Alright, hang on. Game. This is NieR 8%.
Vice, you dumbass!
Yeah, this game is an incredible game. It may not be the most sophisticated sort of gameplay, but it's a lot of subtle touches added on top of it that make this game a wonderful game and sets itself very much apart and different from the sequel that took a very different turn. It was a lot heavier on the gameplay mechanics in the sequel.
You can sort of see, I think, where NieR Automata was pulling from in some of this, though.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of inspiration pulled from this game. They just do it in a much different way. They did, like, Platinum was the one responsible for developing the game, and obviously Platinum's really good for making solid gameplay, but I just feel like they could have done a bit more with the cohesive story in that one. But, I mean, keep in mind, Automata has an ending for every single letter of the alphabet. Keep in mind the amount of work that would take to make a game have that much content beyond what you would normally see. So if you think you've played Automata and only played it like once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, right? There's a lot of content you missed.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm ready for sheep percent whenever the people are ready for sheep percent.
I believe the people are ready for sheep percent. Do you want me to time sheep percent?
I think the game times it for you. It's just a time minigame is all it is. But anyway, like I was saying way earlier, the DLC for this game comes with 15 missions, 14 of which are like big Drakengard lore things. They're basically just challenge arenas. But there's a secret one over here that I never knew about until when I submitted for this marathon. So I'm finally gonna play the sheep minigame. So, I don't know when time starts, but I guess you can time it just for the hell of it.
Yeah. let me know when you go into the text then.
So basically the sheep murdered this guy's whole family, so now he wants us to murder them all with a boar.
Awesome, more boar action.
Yup, Dodd 3 is after this, Zaina.
Alright.
Here we go. It just spawns a bunch of sheep, and your goal is to kill as many as you can in like a minute, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
I never knew this existed.
Go, go, go!
Oh god, she's dying on us. Dale, what did you do?
I don't know. It doesn't let you get knocked off, so weird things just happen if you go near collision points. So this is what we paid for. This is what our money went towards.
This was the $50 Rod donated. Here it is. Who else donated? Anonymous, I think. Yeah, Anonymous and Rod. This is what y'all paid for us to do.
Alright, we killed 21 sheep. So we got 2,100 gold.
Good job on
Okay. Alright, well, now that the sheep are dead, we are going to go ahead and start getting set up for that Drakengard 3 race. So, you all stick around for that. It's gonna be fantastic.
Oh, believe me, it will be.